Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chain Out Podcast, episode 43. I'm Jeremy, and with me as always is your favorite co-host, Daryl.
Your
Looking
favorite
so
co-host.
sharp. My favorite co-host, looking so sharp in your Falcons flight jersey tonight.
Yeah. You wore it last week. I wore it this week. Let's
Do
see.
you remember in the People magazine or something they would do that, and they'd
Yeah.
be like, "Who wore it best?"
Who wore it best? Exactly. That's what I
Yeah, I'm
think
gonna
we should
say
do.
it's you every time.
You're looking pretty sharp in your fancy snazzy jersey there that we've seen a few times before, but I think it has a bit of a special ring this evening.
Oh yeah, this is the night of any night. I have to be wearing the jersey, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. How was you know what's happening this week?
What's happening this week?
Yesterday was ratings day.
Yeah, it was. How
Mhm.
did ratings go for you?
Ratings went well, surprisingly well. I didn't think in my last few tournaments I was playing too good. I thought if anything I would probably at best stay at my rating, but I went up.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
I'm exactly the same. After my last the tournament before this most recent tournament, it wasn't a good one. It was the Wally's 100. It didn't have a very good. Oh no,
Yes.
sorry. What am I talking about? Falcons Flight didn't have a
Right.
very good Falcons Flight, so I thought that might go down. But then you tried explaining to me previous 10, you drop off old ones, bad ones don't count, anomalies,
Yeah.
bell curve, all that type of stuff. So it went up. I'm happy.
Yes. Well, and you know, if you think about it, you and I have been doing a bit of a chain out podcast ratings battle.
Yeah.
It's felt like, you know, at the beginning there, you were ahead of me and you were ahead of me by like 1 point.
Right.
And then in the not this ratings, but the ratings before, I kind of climbed back and I was at 844 and you were at 843.
I dropped. Yeah, I was at 857, I think, at one point, and I dropped from 857 back down to 843.
Right.
Yeah.
And then tell the listeners what happened this week. It's your story to tell.
Well, I can't actually remember the exact numbers.
Oh,
Is it 851 that I went up to?
yes. No,
And
that
then
I went up or you went up to. Yes.
I went to
Yes.
851.
Yeah.
A 7-point increase for me.
Right.
I don't
Whatever
even
it
know.
is. And then I hit 850. The whole point
That's the
being
thing.
that we're back
to yeah,
to 1 point difference.
exactly. You'd think we'd rehearse this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you know.
1 point difference. The chain out battle looms in large again.
Yeah, and we had posted that. You did a really good post on Instagram today that kind of just showed where we were with the battle. And our friend of the show, Miles Ladder, had a good point. He said, well, what if you guys tie by the end of the season? Are you going to have like an
Yeah.
ace off or something like that?
Yeah, like your comment was, we can do that, but only if we keep moving the basket closer every 30 minutes. So otherwise, we'll be here forever.
That's right.
And then I kind
It'll
of
be a
replied
putting
back,
distance.
Yeah. At one point, it'll get down to 20-foot putts.
Yeah. And all that pressure, hopefully one of us will be able to nail it.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. But speaking of ratings, Jeremy,
Yes.
we should also give a couple big shout outs as well.
Oh, definitely.
Good, nice friends of the show that have been on the podcast before. We've talked about ratings with some of them before. First one we should shout out is a recent guest a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. We had MPO Cam Zanini on the show. He was
Yes.
talking about his desire to get back to 1,000. He kept getting to 999, and he was looking for that one extra point to get him over the 1,000. Guess what happened this ratings day, Jeremy?
I think he might have made that mark, hey?
You know, yeah. He got 2-point bump, made him up to 1,001. So congrats, Cam, for hitting your goal there.
Yeah, you got rid of that Mr. 999
Yeah, he's been over 1,000 before, but dropped back down. He just wanted to get back up there again, he said.
Yeah, and he said
So-
he'd been hit with that 999 so many times. He felt like he's been at that rating more than any other rating at all.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so frustrating to be stuck on that. I think last time we were talking about it, did we call him the Kristen Tatar?
I think
of
I called him
Canada,
Wayne Gretzky or something like that
Something
because
like
it was
that,
like
yeah.
there was all the nines. I don't know. Well, we should also shout out Joe Henderson
Yeah.
because she reached the 900 mark, which I know is also a big mark you and I would love to get to, but
Oh, yeah. And I think
it's
it was,
still a
it
ways
was
away.
part of her goal as well to get to that 900 rating. So she achieved it on this ratings update. So congrats, Joe.
Yeah. And then we also had Rebecca Dawn on the show previously, and she told us one of her goals for this year was to be 900 rated. And she's been slowly chipping away at it, but she did a big jump of 4 points. I know that doesn't sound big, but it
Yeah.
got her to 899. So she's right there on the cusp of getting to 900.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, when you're starting off and you're at 695 or whatever, you jump up to 715. You're like, that's a 20-point jump. That's amazing. And then you jump up from 720 to 780 or whatever, and you get all these bigger jumps. But when you start getting up closer to those 900s, up, north of 850, you start to see the points kind of the gap, the updates that you get, they kind of get smaller and smaller.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, we got Kevin in the chat, and Kevin said he played no events this last month, and he
Right?
still went up 2 points. So who knows about this rating system, anyways? Well, I
we,
looked
we
at
don't know
your
what the ratings mean.
no. Well, I looked at your PDGA page, Daryl, and that wasn't the only thing that changed on your PDGA page, but I figure that's a bit of a teaser that we can kind of get to a
Yeah,
little
stay
later.
tuned for another good thing about ratings pages.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk to you guys about the 7th Canadian A tier of 2024, the Gold Eagle Open. That's what most of this episode is about.
Yeah. We kind of touched on it there, but we'll give you a an update on a great experience that I had this weekend
Yeah.
at the Big Berta tournament.
And then we'll move on to our Gold Eagle Canadian A tier fantasy picks recap and let you know who won this one. I'll tell you this, it was a close one.
It was closest it's been, I think. We're gonna
Somebody
get
put up a fight.
as always, we're going to give you an update on what the pros are doing, not necessarily on the DGPT. Some of
That's
them, or
true.
most of them, have moved back north of the border, so we'll let you know what they're doing.
And then we'll get to our interviews. And to start, we're going to have the Gold Eagle Open Tournament Director, Evan Zimmer, joining us.
Yeah. After that, we'll move on to the FPO winner, Teri Hong, who's returning to the podcast.
Yeah. And then we'll finish the interviews with the MPO winner, Thomas Germann, a new name to us.
Yeah. And hopefully a name that'll be more popular in the future.
That's right.
Yeah. And then we're going to wrap up the episode with our secret word. And as always, we'll end it with a big chain out.
Of course we will. If you haven't got that one yet, you can always give us hints and clues of how you think we should chain out the episode, because that would be fun as well.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we get into it, Daryl? Tell us
Yeah.
about this big Berta tournament that happened on the weekend. I did not get to play in it. You got to play in it. We hyped it up. We talked with Andy about it.
Yeah.
Tell us what it ended up being like when you got out there.
Yeah. It was a new experience for me playing in a colored division rating system. So 2 rounds of golf at a new course for me. Kingswood in St. Albert, and it was a new layout as well. I don't think anyone's ever played that layout before. I'm not sure if it's ever been used on just like leagues or anything like that, but it was a XL layout, 24 holes, so 12 holes, but you played it twice, so 24 holes for the first round. Then we had lunch, and then we went out and did another 24 holes in the afternoon. And I know you had mentioned to me that you kind of wanted to make sure, like, did you realize this is 48 holes? And I was like, yeah, sure, it's a couple more holes, like it's not that big of a deal. But then it wasn't until I got the third loop around and I thought, okay, at least I'm done now. And my card was like, no, we've got one more loop. I was like, what? Are we sure? We're not done yet? And then, yeah. So if you played two rounds of golf, that's 36 holes in a day, 18 and 18. And I played 48.
Yeah,
So
that was a lot.
It was another 9. So it was 2.5 rounds almost or over 2.5 rounds of golf. Yeah, it was a really good tournament. We're speaking about ratings. So the reason why the color code system works is that whatever your rating is, that's the division you go in. So if you're 850 to 900, you go in this color division. If you're under 850 to 850 to 800, you'll go in another division, and so on all the way up. So the division that I was in probably shouldn't have been where my rating was, but that's where the rating was when I had a bad tournament before. I dropped to 843, so I was in that division. This is the way I justify it, Jeremy.
Well, I don't think you have to justify it at all. Your rating put you in the division, so that was good.
There you go. So after I'm gonna say probably I'm guessing it was about after 20 holes, 19 holes, I decided I'm not a scorecard checker. But I was like, maybe I'll just go and have a look at the scorecard and see where I am. I've got to be close to the top because I know I'd been parring and birdieing around. And looky, I was at -9, and I think I had like a 3 or 4 shot lead at that point. And then I ended up the first round with I think it was probably like a 6 or a 7 shot lead,
Right.
something like that. Maybe not that much, which was amazing. I wasn't expecting that at all. So
Yeah.
we had lunch. Um, Andy's cousin, I believe, chipped in for some pizza and bought pizza for everybody. So that was a nice addition there. So we all ended up having pizza. Went back out for the second round. Just played my game again. Had a nice round. Ended up finishing the tournament -19 over 48 holes
Wow.
and took down the win in my division.
Yes.
I have a career, even though it's a C tier color coded division win, but on my PDGA profile it does say I have 1 win. So
You have a career win. That is what it
I'm happy
says.
with that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And that's the first well, actually some of our other members of our friend group have a win, but out of you and me, out of the chain out
Yeah.
group, you're the first one with that nice tasty one sitting on your PDGA page.
And I guess the only reason that I got that win was because, like you said, that you weren't in the tournament. So,
I didn't say that.
No, you said you weren't in the tournament because you didn't get a chance to play. You came
Oh,
out for
yes,
lunch,
yes.
but you weren't in the tournament. And that's the only reason I won,
Oh, come on.
is because you weren't there to compete against me.
I think that would have been a good battle now that I think about it. It's too bad it didn't work out. But I did get
Yeah.
a chance to come out at lunch because I was
Yeah.
able to free up some time. Got a chance to meet Andy and their partner and, had a good conversation. And from what I understood in speaking with Andy and then afterwards messaging with them
Mhm.
as well, was that the event was such an amazing success. One of the best events
Yeah.
that Queer Disc Golf has put on. So much props to Brock, to Mike, to Tim, all of the
All
Edgar
of
group
Edgar.
that
Yeah.
helped organize it. And from what I understand, Andy says they're going to be doing the event again next year, guaranteed.
Yeah. He said at the end, hands down, he would not hesitate to do any other event with Edgar again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. But congratulations on the career win.
Thank
Very
you.
proud of you. And it was
First of
wire to
many.
wire, right from start to finish. I think I'm going to have to get you on the show to interview you for your big win at Big Berta.
Did you see the post by Gavin, the comment by Gavin?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. On the teaser, when I was revealing who we would be interviewing,
Yes.
Gavin put down, I thought you were going to reveal that Jeremy was going to be interviewing you after your tournament win.
Great minds think alike there.
There
That's
you go.
awesome, Gavin.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to do a little spin-off one at some point for that one.
There you go.
Well, Daryl, let's talk about our fantasy picks for Gold Eagle and move this podcast along. So
Yeah.
jump right into it, my friend.
You mentioned Gold Eagle. We did it last week. It was the 6th. No, it was the 7th event.
Yeah, 7th A tier of 2024.
Yeah. So we made our picks. We put them out on Instagram. We encouraged people to leave their teams, make their picks. Thanks to Mike, who's in the chat. He put a comment on our YouTube channel of his picks that he would have picked.
Yes, we had asked him to do that.
He also picked your team as well. But let's bring up the picks, the teams. We'll see that everybody scored some points, but one team was the only team to get points from every one of their players.
The Golden Child, Team Shambles,
There you go.
wins again. But I was 1 point away this time.
It was
1
close.
point.
1 point. If one of your players, I'm not going to mention any names, but if one of your players just happened to finish in the top 10 or, you did good. You had 3 podiums.
Yes.
And you just needed that one extra point and it would have been a tie game. But Team Shambles did take down the win with 10 points. Team J-Pal came in second with 9 points. And Team Kristen Squared finished in third with 7 points. So we'll add those points to our previous points that we had from the last tournament. And we'll see that Team J-Pal now has 56. Team Guest Invite has 60 points. 15 points ahead. That's like a whole tournament, Jeremy. Team Shambles with 75 points in the lead.
It's a steep hill, but I'm willing to climb it.
It can be done. Especially this upcoming weekend. Anything can happen this weekend.
That's right.
But let's have a look at the actual tournaments and see how many wins Team Shambles has there. Team Shambles took down another win. You see that Team Shambles now has 6 wins. Team Guest Invite with Alex Penny and Mark Thompson getting their 2 wins with 2 wins. Jeremy in last place with no wins.
0. Yeah, you're 6
Yeah.
out of 7. Pretty impressive, my friend.
For Team Shambles, let's see what
I
happens.
think you've been just faking us out this whole time.
There you go.
Team Well Organized is the new name.
Exactly. Next year, that'll be what it is. But as I said, we put our teams out on Instagram. We encourage people to vote. We encourage people to leave their own picks. But on the fan vote side, Jeremy,
Yes.
Team JPAL took down a win, getting 2/3 of the votes on Instagram.
Thank you, listeners. I really appreciate that. We had a great team. And I do have to, can I throw something out there?
Absolutely.
So we were talking. I had Al Harabia on my team this year, this tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and I was reaching out to Al, let him know, welcome to Team JPOW, giving him some props, wishing him good luck, and he reached back to me and he said, "I'm really sorry I didn't perform the way I could have. I know I could have done better." It was almost like it was a true coach and player mentality. I'm like, "No, man." I'm like, "You are my dark horse pick. You're a dark ace superstar." He told me he does play all those pictures we talked about. He
Yeah.
does play in a metal band, like a hard metal band.
There
So
you
you know
go.
what? Just for like team spirit,
Yeah.
he should have got a point just for that, I think.
Well, you got the team vote. So,
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
true.
there you go. You got the win there. So, yeah, that will take us on to next week's or this week's tournament, next
Mhm.
episode. Next event will be, it's going to be a double header. We're
Oh,
going to be
baby.
doing the Inn of a Rip, which is happening, as well as the Canadian Nationals.
Yeah,
2
both
events on
of
the
them.
same weekend.
Hmm.
A lot of big names. Both events have got big hitters.
And we
And
figured if we're going to have big hitters at these events,
yeah,
we need a big hitter guest. So we've brought on the GOAT and the EDGA president, Tim Plamondon. This, pretty much a staple of the show now. I'm not even,
yeah.
I don't even know what that next level is. You're a friend of the show. You're a listener of the
Yeah.
show.
Well, I think you're a listener of the show. You're a friend of the show. Maybe you might get to be a co-host of the show. Gabe has kind of reached up to that level.
Yeah.
Tim has gone one step above now. Like he's a regular.
Well, when we started these fantasy picks, as you said, Team Shambles' name came out there. We were just trying to figure our way, but Tim helped us level it up in that first episode. So we figured this next one, you're not going to want to miss it because we're picking both tournaments. We're picking a mix and match. It's not one tournament, then the next. It's going
Yeah.
to be chaos, and I'm going to have so much fun with it.
Do you know what I'm really excited for?
What's that?
The fact that we have a stacked FPO field in both tournaments, and that we'll actually get to pick 3
Yes.
FPO picks each in both tournaments.
So by the time we're done, we're going to have 12 picks each.
Yeah, 36 players that we're going to be picking.
Overall, yeah. So that's really
It's going to be
cool.
carnage.
The other thing we should always mention is that we do have the BR Disc Golf gift certificates that Brendan's been so kind to give to us to give
Yep.
out for the Fantasy Picks episodes. He's sponsored those for us. He's also giving everybody $5 delivery if you want to order from BR Disc Golf, and then you can pick up at Thursday night Rundle League. We'll talk to him about what happens after Rundle League is over.
Mhm.
Now, the one thing is, I got a comment on Facebook is we've said that people should like on Instagram and comment to get in.
Yeah.
We've also said that they should like on YouTube to get in, but we never mentioned Facebook. And it was Kevin King had reached out and said, "Hey guys, what about us Facebook people? We're not on the wheel." So you guess what? Facebook people, you're going on the wheel too. So if you make a comment on Facebook, we'll make sure you're included in the next draw.
Yeah, that was partly an oversight on my point, I think, because I'm more of the Instagram, YouTube curator, and I put the poll out on Instagram because obviously it's the visual thing that we put out there. It has a little poll button beside it. We record them, we put them out on YouTube, so leave a comment on YouTube. But the back end programs and things that we use, I totally forgot that it actually also sends it to Facebook as well. So
Yes.
it was going to Facebook with the comments, leave a comment below, but me not thinking that it was actually going to Facebook. So that kind of got overlooked. But from now on, we will include Facebook as well. So if you're a Facebook person, leave a comment on the post. If you're an Instagram person, vote on the poll. You can also leave a comment if the poll doesn't work. Or if you just watch us on YouTube, if you watch it live, we would love it if you went over to YouTube. And give me 1 second here, Jeremy. I don't think I have it with me. I don't know where it is. It's gone.
Well, that's all
All
right.
right,
And the
never mind.
last
You
thing
keep
I'll
talking.
say is make sure to also
Oh,
put your team in there. And if you put your team in the comments that you would pick, then we're going to give you an extra entry on the wheel.
yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Now we call it always, Daryl, our DGPT Pro update, but the pros are in Canada. They're not all on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So why don't we do a quick run through of what we've got coming that way?
Go ahead. You can start
Starting
us.
with Sophia Donica, the day is here. She is playing a tournament. We've been waiting for this
Finally.
for like what, 4 weeks. We've been like, oh yeah, she's just
Oh,
hanging out. She's just
yeah.
hanging out.
I'm sure she'll fit some tournaments in. She'll do something somewhere. Never
Yeah.
did.
So she's competing. She's going to be at nationals. I said this is a spoiler alert. You weren't sure if it was, but I said she might be one of the first players picked because she's been a beast this year. She's been playing so well. I'm just saying, you might be giving away. I might be giving away a little bit about what my picks are going to look like later.
Yeah.
And I met with you this week. I picked up your J, and I'm hoping to run into her and maybe get a signature for you.
Absolutely. I've already reached out to her on Instagram. She said she'd be more than happy to sign it up for me real good. So I'm excited to get that back. Also, Thomas Gilbert, he just played the Great Lakes Open and finished 84th. Unfortunately, it was the first 44 players to make it to the final round. Next up for him, he's going to be out there as well. He's going to be out at Canadian Nationals. I think Jeremy also has my Thomas Gilbert mana that I
Yeah.
have. So I gave you that one as well to take out there, and hopefully you can bump into him and get that signed for me as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I'm going to get on that course and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, what did you pack in your Zuka bag for the game today or for the round today?" Yeah, I've got 4 discs to play with. The rest of my bag are discs to get signed for Daryl.
That's the only real reason you got a Zuka card. It's just to lug around all the discs that I give you to get signed. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, all no problem, my friend. Chantel Badinsky, she finished 35th at D-Glow, but again, you had to be 24th to get to the final round for the FPO side. But you know who was 24th? Taylor Chosick.
Disc
And
Tay.
yeah, this time we've heard about her because she's kind of Pacific Northwest. She's in like the Oregon, Washington area,
Yeah.
and she's actually coming up to nationals as well.
Right. I think I have a disc for you to get signed. No, I don't have one of Disc Tay's signed.
Well, but let's get back to Chantel. Her next
Yeah.
event is going to be the Eastern event, the Inn of a Rip.
Yeah. Max Rogicnik, he finished up down in the States there. He said he was coming back up to Canada. His next tournament was going to be Nationals, but he did sneak in a sneaky tournament. He played the Rumble at Raven's Nest in Fairmont and placed second, winning himself $873 US. Next up for him is the Nationals. And Jeremy, do you know who won Rumble? Well,
Well,
I
I
know you
kind of
know.
had, I wouldn't have been able to guess. I'll tell you that much because I didn't know
Yeah.
really who was in it. But tell the listeners who won.
First was Nick Culver. Second was Max Rogicnik. Third, Casey Hannemeyer.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, and of course Casey's going to be
Three
out
popular
at
names.
nationals as well, so we should let you know that.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca Dawn, she's heading out to the Rip, so she's right on her FPO run now, and the Rip is the next stop on it.
Yeah. So many other Canadian pros are playing this weekend as well. You'll need 2 phones to stay on top of all the PDGA live. You can watch Colleen McInnes is out there playing. Luke Levesque is out playing. Cam Zanini we mentioned earlier. Lots more as well. Make sure you're following them on PDGA live. Look for the names. Follow the fantasy episode. Look for the names of the teams. That's what we're all about.
And when you're done looking at all of those players, then maybe go to the MA40 division and see how I fare. But I learned something, Daryl, that I didn't expect ahead of time was that as we got going in these tournaments throughout the year and we said, oh yeah, we're going to play these big tournaments. They're going to be lots of fun. Then we go out to Falcons. That was lots of fun, but it was hard. And then now we got nationals and Thomas is already out there. And did you see that post he put up today at one of the holes at the ski hill?
I did, yeah.
I got to play that same hole, buddy.
Yeah. And you know what goes down?
Yeah,
It's got to come back up again.
that's right.
Yeah.
There might be a plus 17 in my future as well this weekend. So
plus 17 floors, I think. Yeah. You're going to be
Yeah,
doing
there
a lot
you
of
go.
walking, a lot of climbing. It's going to be hard. Are you taking a bag with you or are you just taking your cart?
you know, I've got my car. My car is pretty much full. We're leaving bright and early tomorrow morning to start
Yeah.
doing the drive to Clearwater. A friend of the show, Mark Thompson, and I. So we're gonna head out there. So I've got my little side pack bag. So if it's really really tough, maybe it's the Wombat the Lazadal, my
And the
putter,
EV7.
and the musket.
Yeah,
It might
that's
be
what he
Desert
needs.
Island Discs Nationals for Jeremy.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
there
like
you
a
go.
power move when everybody else has got all their bag full of discs and I just show up with like 4 discs.
Yeah,
We'll see how you guys are doing at the end when you climb that last hill. I'm sure I'll be fine.
exactly. There you go. That's what you need.
Yeah. Well, why don't we get into the Gold Eagle tournament here, Daryl?
Let's do it, Jeremy. Just give
All
me
right.
1
You know
second.
what you should do before I even get started?
There
What
it
do you
is.
think you should be doing right now?
I should be telling Evan if he's listening. Evan, get ready because you're coming on right now.
Like this second here. All
Go,
right.
Jeremy.
Our first guest tonight is the tournament director of the Gold Eagle Open. He's also the course development director of Disc Golf Saskatchewan, a PDGA member since 2015, but a player since the late 90s, and founder of the Battleford Disc Golf Club. It's time to welcome Evan Zimmer to the show. Hey, Evan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you're looking good. Look at that background you got there. Is that like how many years of discs do you got behind you?
Lots. There's basically, well, we didn't have a disc in 2016, which was the first year of the Gold Eagle. But
Okay.
I do have, in 2017, we didn't host the Gold Eagle because we hosted the provincials here in the Battlefords. So, but from 2018 on behind me, they are, I don't know how well the viewers can see them, but they're all back there somewhere, along
Yeah.
with various other tournaments that I ran or played in or something. Right? They all got a special place in my heart back there. So,
Yeah. Any ace discs? Do you retire your ace discs or do you keep using them?
no, I keep using them. I've not that many. You know, I'm pretty dry for aces in the last couple of years. I'm trying to remember the last one I had, but no, every once in a while I sneak them in. But
Yeah.
no, they're still in my bag because I mean, obviously they work. So
There
you
you
got
go.
to keep using them, right?
They know where to go. They found their home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm looking back there, there's one empty spot right in the middle. Are you saving that for something special?
Way up there on the top. Actually, that's supposed to be an ice bowl disc. I got an ice bowl super color collection from 2016 on, and found a line on. I think I'm missing the 2022 one. Yes, the 2022 one I'm missing back there. I know where it is. I've done the deal. I just have to receive it, and then it goes up in its place. And probably due for a little reorganizing back there, but you know.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, when I was doing my research, which I sometimes do really good, sometimes not so much, but this time I felt I was doing all right. I found a really good summary of your disc golf history that Top Link had put up at one point. And
Okay.
I
Yep.
thought, yeah, and when I was reading that, I thought you were going to be tired, from planning and being the TD for the Gold Eagle. But then I realized I was tired just reading your biography of all the different things that you've done in disc golf. So, how are you doing right now? Are all of the Gold Eagle responsibilities wrapped up, or where are you at with the tournament?
Not even close. No. No, there's always all kinds of things on the back end to do, right? Whether it's dealing with some of the sponsors. Obviously, I got bills to pay all over the place. Still got e-transfers to send out to my pros because it takes a while to clean up after that event. And then equally a good amount of time for me to rest and recover because let's face it, I'm well into the Masters division here, and every year gets a little bit harder, to bounce back from it. But all in all, nothing new. We'll get through it, and everything's just fine.
Yeah. And after doing the tournament as many years as you have, does it get easier? Does it take less time for you to organize, or is it just one of those things where you're used to it, so it takes the same amount of time, but being used to it makes it easier for you?
No, unfortunately, myself and my team's ambition usually offsets our knowledge and skills about what we're doing with the tournament, because every year we keep pushing it more and more and see exactly what we can do, right, to make it that much better. And so it just kind of, they carry each other. Our ability to run the tournament and our organization climbs, but so does our responsibilities and the things that we have to do to get the job done. So
Do you have a good group of people that keep coming back each year? people that
Oh,
you can rely on?
absolutely. Yeah. No, there's a crew of us locals who are just steadfast. I have my two assistant tournament directors, Cole Tenichuk and Adam Bollig, that are just, I mean, definitely could, but I could go on and give you a list of about 20 people that I couldn't do the event without. But those two guys are definitely the first two, right? But yeah, we have a pretty dedicated crew, and it grows every year, which is very helpful. Right, we have more and more people coming on board, and seeing the value in the event and wanting to be part of it, and wanting us to help it make it the best we can. So, which is really fortunate, because otherwise we just wouldn't be able to do what we do.
Right. Yeah, well, and as you said, like the tournament keeps growing and getting bigger, your ambition in that. And one of the reasons that work that you've done brought it to our attention, because you guys brought Parked Pro in last year, and they did the coverage and brought it into the Canadian Disc Golf Tour. And when we watched it last year, it's one of the tournaments. If you didn't watch any of the Canadian Disc Golf tournaments last year, watch the FPO coverage from 2023, because you're going to see an epic 4-hole playoff between Bailey Inglis and Teri Hong. Tell us, kind of about that and the other kind of moments of the history of the tournament that kind of stand out to you like that.
Well, that was a good one for sure. It was especially interesting to see, all of us, the gallery and the tournament staff, going back and forth from hole 17 to hole 18, because that section of the course is very hilly. So it's, up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill. I mean, we've all done enough up the hill, down the hill throughout the 3 days of the tournament, and doing it back and forth. And it's just like, oh God, come on, ladies, get it done. But it was still super exciting the whole way through. And, the finish was really thrilling, because I've known Bailey for years, and seen her, come up the ranks, and that was her jump to FPO was that, right. And for her to, nobody, I don't think she would have been the top pick to win that tournament. But, for her to climb up and do that, and then win through the playoff and the emotional finish. I mean, I was trying to keep it together when I was handing her the trophy and speaking, so I didn't sound like a, big baby sobbing it up, seeing her so excited for the win, and it was a really special moment for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And did you kind of maybe curse yourself at one point to say, why did I make holes 17 and 18 the two playoff holes? Why would I do that to myself?
Well, believe it or not, that was the best possible scenario, because for us to get back to hole 18, we have to go way down a hill and then way back up to hole 1. And then, God forbid, if they were to if we would have started at 1 and went to 1, 2, 3, 4, the hill that you climb from hole 2 and then finish through hole 2 up to hole 3 is savage. It is extremely steep. And that was kind of what we wanted to avoid, was to have everybody have to do that, because it would have been much worse to do anything else than what we did, believe it or not. So,
right.
Yeah, the Jackfish course is quite elevated. Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, mentioning the Jackfish Lake there, we should also mention that there's two courses. You got the Jackfish Lake course, and you got the beachside pop-up course as well. You want to give us a little? You kind of touched on the Jackfish Lake course there, but you want to give us a bit of a background on the two courses?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Jackfish course, to give it an Alberta tie to it, I went to in 2018. I went to the Lost Egg tournament. Right. And, with Saskatchewan, and typically, the rumors are generally true. We're quite flat around here. Right. And we're not used to throwing off of, cliffs and hills and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I played in the Lost Egg tournament and was thrilled with the elevation shots, whether it's the downhill or the uphill, and just the, the extra added physical aspect of the tournament. Right. And we were, carrying on. We have at the time, we only had our one local course in North Battleford, Centennial Park. And Centennial Park's a beautiful course, but it's fairly short and that sort of thing. And we were feeling at that point that the tournament was definitely starting to outgrow the course. And that was definitely apparent in the 2018 Gold Eagle, that we had, lots of people, lots of high caliber players, and the course just didn't handle it, right? So we needed to move forward with something else. We went, myself and Adam Bolig, the assistant tournament director, we went out to the provincial park north of town that's on, well, it's sandwiched between two lakes, actually. There's Jackfish Lake and Murray Lake. And that's where the Battleford's Provincial Park is. And I thought, well, let's go have a look up there. And we started walking these hills, and I was get to the top of a hill and look out and say, well, yeah, no, this is exactly what we want, right? We want these big bombs, 450 feet that way and 120 feet down. Like, yeah, that sounds great. That's a lot of fun. We went up there and chucked a few drivers off the top and said, yeah, we got to make a course here. So we worked away with that through 2018 and managed to get the course installed and ready to go for 2019. And 2019 was the first year that we had the Gold Eagle out at the park, and that really, changed the face of the tournament and really, propelled it into us being able to make it a PDGA event that was worth, top caliber players coming.
Right. Well, that's nice.
And then you have the beach pop-up course as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the beachside course now, because we, again, we started, with tee times and in late September with the amount of daylight you have, we typically only run maybe 100 players on the course. And we were getting that. And it's like, okay, well, if we want to have more, we're going to have to expand.
Right.
And if we want to, have better venues to have Tournament Central and stuff, instead of just putting tents and tables out in the field and that sort of thing, we figured we needed to do something else. So we worked on the concept because the picnic pavilion that is now our Tournament Central, it's a wonderful Tournament Central. It's a Y-shaped building with fire pits on each end, and it's all brick and whatnot, and ample parking right beside it. And we thought, what a great thing. How great would it be to be down on the beach? And we started touring around and looking and piecing things together. And we said, hey, we can do this. And with the time slot where it is, because the provincial park officially closes on Labor Day. So what we managed to do is take over the entire main area of the Battleford's Provincial Park, like the big beach area that overlooks the lake and everything. We've taken that area over and turned it into a disc golf course. And the center main campground, which is typically closed at that time, we turned that into disc golfers only campground, which is completely adjacent to Tournament Central. So that's one of the things with the tournament, and especially with the beach side and having Tournament Central there, is that it's a central hub. It's really easy for players to intermingle and stuff, whether it's before rounds, after rounds, between rounds, in the evenings, whatever. It really promotes the community quite a bit, especially if people are going to camp with us and that sort of thing. Right. And we really liked how because the beachside course, T1 is, within earshot, within putter shot of where we're standing announcing everything. And hole 11 also tees off at Tournament Central, and hole 18 finishes at Tournament Central. Right. So we set up a nice viewing area, and it's a wonderful place to sit there because you can watch people tee off at 1, you can watch people finish at 18, and you can watch people basically start the back 9 at hole 11. So it makes for a really great tournament atmosphere.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and with that too, so with that beach course, because it is a pop-up course that you guys installed just for this event, do you get experimental with it, or do you kind of stick with the exact same course every year?
No, we've tweaked it every year, always developing it because, of course, when you're trying to, and it has different elements, like, it goes through campgrounds and along the beach and various areas that are, I guess you see all kinds of things on disc golf courses and public parks and whatnot as far as obstacles and elements in them, right? But it was something that we've always been able to adjust. And of course, because it is a pop-up course, it's really easy to move a portable basket. You just slide it over, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we'll move the tee pad over here, right? No big deal. And always trying to tweak it, like every year after year. This was our 3rd year using the beachside course. And 2021, 2, 3, 4, was it 21? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it was the 4th year.
Okay.
Losing track. Yeah, time flies, huh? It was the 4th year we used, but every year we've done a little bit of adjustments to it, right? Trying to just make sure that it's got the difficulty we need for the pros, but still the accessibility for our AMs, because we are really AM heavy, generally speaking. This year was a little bit better with our pro players. I think we're starting to, the word's getting out that our event has the caliber to be that. And so we're drawing more of that. But just generally speaking, the community in Saskatchewan, right? We, say in 2005, there was 4 courses in Saskatchewan. Now, I believe this year we broke 100 courses in Saskatchewan.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
No, there's lots of people out there putting in courses in communities and stuff. And, the provincial parks have thrown in quite a few here and there across the province. So it's been really great to see the growth for sure. But nonetheless, our player base is relatively new. So that, therefore, we are naturally AM heavy. So.
Yeah. Well, before we leave the courses, what we'd like to know, being that we've never played them, if you were to pick one hole on Jackfish as a signature hole and one hole on the beachside course, what would those holes be? And then what makes them so special?
Well, I would say, Jackfish has a few. If I was going to pick, the first one that jumps out to me is hole 2. The big bomb across the Valley of Death, which claims many a disc and many a confidence booster and all kinds of things. Hole 10 with its mound green always seems to get in people's heads, and it doesn't help that we put a $50 CTP or a $50 long putt for all divisions on it too, to mess with people's minds as well. And then but hole 18 has beautiful views to it, because you're coming back down to the lake, and all you see is as you come crest the hill to 18, all you see is the open lake. And on the nicer days, you see boats and skiers and all kinds of stuff across the lake. And you come down through sunset. It's wonderful. So, but yeah, if I was going to pick one, hole 2.
Hole 2.
Yeah,
Nice.
on Jackfish. And then beachside, again, beachside has quite a few, but hole 11 with the finishing Peninsula Green and the Mando Dogleg par 4, that's a good one. Hole 17 along the beach is always great. The hole 4, which is cut into the rough beach, that one's always interesting for most. Every year after year, we're always claiming more of the beach area for that hole. We did a decent job this year. It was quite a bit better than last year, and which in turn was quite a bit better than the year before, that sort of thing. Because that hole's cut into basically abandoned area that every year we put hours and hours into working on it and trying to get it up to snuff. And we're slowly claiming that hole from Mother Nature. So.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. And the other thing, as we move from the courses to kind of more about the tournament itself there, one of the things when we looked, it looked like there was 138 players registered this year. And last year was more, closer to 194. Do you think that change is more related to just where you guys were positioned in the schedule this year? Or what do you think was the reason that numbers were a little bit down this year?
Well, that was a factor for sure, right? Because we are sandwiched between Falcons Flight and Nationals, and everything is west this year, right? So people are making their choices where it's like, okay, well, I can't pull off all 3 events. Well, you're going to make your choices, and obviously Falcons Flight is more established than us, and has a little bit more of a draw and a history to it. And then obviously Nationals in the west, that's something everybody wants to try to get to Nationals, right? It's been out east for so long, and then now that it's sliding over west, obviously a lot of Western players are looking for that, right?
Yeah.
We also had a drop due to the fact that we moved from a 2-day format to a 3-day format this year, right?
Okay.
That was to because we were basically full last year, and it fluctuated back and forth. Like at one point we were over 200, which was kind of our ceiling. And then as coming up to the day, I'd naturally have dropouts for injuries or circumstances or what have you, which dropped us down to that 190, whatever it was. But this year, I don't think, moving to that 3-day format, people worked in education, that kind of thing, with it being the first week back to school and stuff, makes it difficult for those people. And, I think it was just the growing pains of it all, right? And I think with the feedback that we heard this year from the 3-day format and just generally how the tournament went, how it was enjoyed by our players as well as the tournament staff, to have that one round a day, it just made the event exponentially better. And I feel like the feedback when the players go home and tell their groups that, like, hey, no, like this was way better. This is the way to go. You have to make some time and make this tournament next year because it's really coming into where it ought to be, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion from what I heard throughout the weekend.
Yeah. And ultimately that's it, right? As long as the players are happy, it's a successful tournament. But how did you think that the tournament went from your perspective? How was it received, and how did the tournament go through?
Oh, wonderful. I mean, I would probably say it was the best. Well, not probably, it was hands down the best year. I mean, if you don't get hung up on the fact that we were a little bit lower on players, but as far as the player experience, the results of the event, how it went for us, the tournament staff, as well as the players, and not just on the course, but off the course, right? Plenty of people were swimming, fishing, kayaking in their time off because all that stuff is available, right? Just relaxing at their campsite with their feet up and having a nap.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things are something that can be done because the Saturdays were always very difficult for players and staff because we'd have an early morning round where, we're starting tee times at 8, finish them up around 12:30 and then fire them back up again at 1:30 and try to get everybody in and everybody off the course again by sundown. The players are doing 2, 3.5, 4-hour rounds with a small break in between, up early, done late. And then, of course, our Saturday night social, which is definitely something not to miss.
Right.
We throw that at people. And then we also had our glow event on the same night competing with the Saturday night social. So the Saturday was just a cluster, generally speaking, right? And ended up burning a lot of people out. And a lot of people just didn't have the energy to do it all. So naturally, people were missing out on things and stuff. So with this 3-day format, we had the glow round on Friday night, and then Saturday night was strictly wide open for our Saturday night social with the band and the fireworks and the beer gardens and all that fun stuff. So player experience through the roof, TV experience through the roof. Because recycling trying to get the tee time sorted out, whether it's on PDGA or what have you, in a natural setting and trying to get them to flip over to round 2 from round 1 results out there was always a bit of a challenge and always hectic. We always managed to pull it off and everything went according to schedule, but nonetheless, a lot more added stress behind for all of us. And then, of course, get all the tee times out and then race around and get everything else ready to go. It was just always so hectic, and this year felt so much more relaxed, so much more easygoing, that I feel that players and tournament staff alike just felt so much better about the event this year.
Well, I'll tell you this, Evan, you're selling me on the event, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and one of those things too, you kind of just briefly mentioned in the string of all the things that were happening was the fireworks. And this isn't like go and buy a small box of fireworks, because it was Wally O'Volley, a friend of the show. He took a bunch of videos and posted them on Facebook. And I mean a bunch. I think there was like 47 videos just of the fireworks show alone. And that wasn't the same video over and over again. Those were that much fireworks. So is that a big part of what you guys want at that tournament?
Well, it's something that nobody else is doing. And we're just fortunate because our shooter is from Regina. His name's Taylor Mountain, wonderful guy. And he, he's a family fireworks guy. His parents were fireworks shooters, so he kind of grew up with a lighter in his hand, fully licensed and ready to go. And so he is gracious enough to come and help us every year with that, and provide us access to some good pricing for some shots. And as well, we have a local supplier, Eagle Ridge Rentals, who also rents trailers to competitors to camp in and whatnot. 50% off for if you're out there for 3 days. So, which is a steal of a deal. A lot of people took up that, and trust me, that's the way to go. If you guys come next year, rent the trailer, do it that way, because sometimes the nights are cold. But after a long day, it's sure nice to get into get into an actual bed and be able to get up and wash your hands and wash your face with some hot water and then get out and get onto the course, right? I mean, there is, wonderful shower houses at the provincial park as well. So it's not like you can't do that, but, comfort's a home as opposed to in a tent,
Makes you play better the next day, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, hey, if you're going to spend, an extra 150, $200 on your accommodations, and that's going to put you higher on the podium, well, I think that's worth it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but anyways, Eagle Ridge Rentals, they sell fireworks as well, and because we are at the end of the season, we get to clean his shelves off at a steal of deal as well. So between the two, we put together, something that just wouldn't be something that typically a disc golf tournament would pay for, but we managed to do it at a fraction of the price. So
yeah, no, that's great. And even we can relate. I think I can speak for us both, Daryl, is that we were at Falcons Flight for the first time for us this year. We each were tenting on our own there, and those nights definitely did get cold, I'll tell you that. And also too is you're not guaranteed when you're out there to be on a flat surface, so when you're sleeping on a 45 you're not sleeping very well, I'll tell you that much.
Yep. No. And one in 2020, the COVID year, we went below zero that year. And we woke up to for the tee times on Sunday morning to frost on the fairways. And so, that was kind of, I always get the trailer, but after that one, I was just like, I'm always getting the trailer because the furnaces work.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I said to Jeremy that I'm limited on my tournaments that I'm going to do next year, but I think, if I'm going to travel, I think you just tipped it over the edge there with the rental of the trailer. That's a great idea. I don't have a trailer. I'm not going to pull a trailer all that way out there, but if I can just get out there, get one while I'm out there, why not?
Yeah. No, it's great. And that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's completely unique with that as well. And just with the whole Saturday night, it's a wonderful experience for a lot of our players. Everybody comes together, and you're kind of in an atmosphere with, entertainment you don't normally see. We had a great local band this year, Keegan Isaac and the Itty Bitty Big Band. They're a group of guys from our local Kinsman band, local big band musicians and stuff.
Right.
And actually, the bass guitarist was my two children's music teacher at the elementary school.
Okay.
So it was, and the trumpeter was an older fella who does the Remembrance Day trumpet every year for the last 20, 30 years or something like that. I'm not sure, but some great local talent, and they do like little funky jazzy covers of they were doing Frank Sinatra and Michael Bublé and stuff like that with some jazzy spins and Sweet Caroline and a whole bunch of stuff. Just had the crowd going great. It was a fantastic evening.
Yeah,
you're definitely selling me on this event.
Yes. Well, and you kind of got into it there too a little bit, Evan, about some of the people who are helping out and with the fireworks and with the trailers and the band and that. But who are some of the other sponsors of the event that come to the table and really help put this together for you?
Well, I mean, that's a huge thing. That's why we can do what we do, right? Because it's, not only coming up with an A-tier payout and that sort of thing, right? But still being able to do some of the extras we do, like, band fireworks. We typically throw out $900 worth of CTPs on the course as well, and various other things. And, and it's all due 100% to the business culture of the Battlefords. All the businesses in the Battlefords, it's what happens around here. Everybody supports everybody's events. The businesses are just wonderful that way, ready to help all the time. Our title sponsor, which is the Gold Eagle Casino, which is under Saskatchewan Indian Gaming Authority, but some people don't know the Saskatchewan Indian Gaming Authority is completely 100% nonprofit. So there's multiple casinos in the province, but all of the profit money that comes from that operation goes straight back into communities across the province. So it's a great thing. And then as well, we have, the Gold Eagle Lodge, Gold Eagle Gas Bar, a few other companies that come together. So naturally, the name fit that way. But I mean, I could give you a list of about 30 people and 30 different businesses that have been with us for, the last 8 years that, I could take up the rest of the podcast telling you about them, and it wouldn't do the justice that I feel like it's required. So I can just leave it like that and say that, like, you know, the only reason we can do what we do is because of the businesses in the Battlefords, and we're so grateful for that. So grateful.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and the thing is we've had that when we've had other TDs on as well, is it's, you start to name them and then you don't want to forget anybody. And with the number of sponsors that come to the table to an event like this, and I'm sure it's the same way with the number of volunteers, and there's probably a lot of unsung heroes that people don't even know what they've done, but the event couldn't happen without them. So, you know, that's what I think we like to try to do with these episodes, is bring some attention to that and realize that when you go to a tournament and you play, the experience that you're getting is the work of hundreds of people in some cases to make that happen for you, and to recognize that. So when that one little thing maybe didn't go the way you thought it would, that was one little thing. All of these other things did go right. Let's focus on those. So,
yep, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So we appreciate you doing that too, and being that tournament director and putting these events on. And, you know, Saskatchewan Disc Golf, Battleford's Disc Golf Club, like I said, it just seemed like your list went on and on. And before we let you go, because we're going to bring Teri on next, is there anything else that we didn't cover, or anything that you might want to shout out?
Nothing that I'm going to fit into a short time, because I could sit here and talk to you guys for another hour about it, of course. But, you know, no, it's, I guess to sum it up, the whole event is 100% a labor of love, and not just mine, but the rest of the team. And I feel like it shows every event year in and year out, and it's becoming a bigger labor of love for a bigger group of people. This year, there was, I can probably say, about 10 more people that came, soaked it in, and actually participated behind the scenes and kind of realized, you know, got the big picture about what we're doing here and how we all feel about it. And I think, and that translates into our player experience, right? It's, and if you talk to anybody who's like, you know, whether it's Walio Valley or whoever that is coming out for us each and every year, that's why, because, you know, the tournament experience is that great, because there's love behind it. There really is. So.
Yeah. I just have one quick question, Jeremy, because I just thought of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Watching Teri receive her trophy on her Instagram while you were presenting it to her, you presented her a big trophy and then gave her the small one, which I thought was awesome. Does the trophies change every year?
Yes, the take-home trophies, I try to have a new one every year, because just in case we got repeats, I don't want to have two matching trophies beside each other.
Nice.
We're always working at that, but yeah, no, the Big Eagles, they're going to keep trucking. You know, they're awfully large. It's one of those things you can't really send home with people, because where the heck are you going to put it? Never mind, you know, the weight of them. Some people, if you watch, you know, last year's coverage and then this year's coverage when it comes out, I typically have to help people hoist them.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, they were awesome.
Yeah, and that is a great thing, right? That gives it just that real big sense of, hey, I really did something. I won something. Look at what I won, right?
Yep, 100%.
Great. Well, that's awesome, Evan. We appreciate you coming on, and you are right. We could talk with you for all night long, but we're going to get to Teri Hong here. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you maybe again in the future.
You betcha, anytime, and thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on and communicate a little bit about what the Eagle's all about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time, Evan.
Keep it
You
up.
bet. Take care.
Thanks. Have a good day. Yeah, you can just hit the button.
I got to leave myself.
Yeah, you betcha,
man. I don't have that.
Studio.
See ya. All right, Daryl, let's roll right into our next guest. What do you think?
Go for it.
Our next guest is currently from Edmonton, Alberta, but her roots are in Saskatchewan. She just won the Gold Eagle Open. She's currently the FPO leader for both the Cold Garden Cup and the Canadian Disc Golf Tour, sponsored by Equine Discs, BR Disc Golf, and Beast Disc Golf. She's got one of the coolest nicknames in disc golf, and even has her own song. No, you thought I was going to sing to you, but nope. You're going to have to go back and watch episode 15 if you want to see that. One of our highest viewed YouTube videos, may I quite add.
Yeah.
Let's welcome Heiserbaum Hong back to the show. Hey, Teri, welcome.
Hi. Wait, can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
We can hear you. We can see you. You're looking good. How are things going?
I borrowed Riley's gaming headphones, so yeah.
That's awesome.
Where are you joining us from tonight? Are you back in Edmonton?
Yeah, I'm in Edmonton. I'm home right now, in the middle of meal prepping and packing, and yeah, I just started packing tonight. So,
I was
Yeah.
half expecting you from the gym again.
oh, I left early today.
There you go. Well, we know how you like to work, play disc golf, work, play disc golf.
Work.
Yeah.
Well, and you've been on quite the tour lately. So 2 weeks ago, we see you at Falcons Flight down in Sundre, Alberta. Then this past weekend, you head out to Battleford, Saskatchewan, coaching all in that area for the Gold Eagle. You're back in Edmonton, and now you're just getting ready to turn around and head to nationals. Like, how are you doing? You got a lot of energy still? Where are you at this point?
I am very tired. I think when I got back from Aspen Meadows, I slept for 12 hours.
Okay.
And then when I got back from Gold Eagle, I wasn't able to sleep for 12 hours because I had to work 10 hours Monday, 10 hours Tuesday. I only put in 9 hours today, so yeah.
You're amazing. I can't believe you got the energy to do all that. So when you left Falcons, when did you end up getting up to Saskatchewan? Like what day did you head up there?
I left Thursday morning,
Okay. So you
and
got up there.
we
Yeah.
had enough time to do 2 practice rounds, one of each course. However, the guy that I went with, Tony Ambrose, I'll out him right now. He lost his phone on the course at
Oh,
Jackfish.
Oh
And it's
no.
like hilly and there's like tall grass and bushes everywhere. He had no idea where he lost his phone. So we unfortunately did not get to, you know what? Actually, I'm lying. We did do a full round at beachside, but we did it in the dark.
Oh wow. So were you throwing glow discs or
yeah. I
what
was
were
just
you
gonna
doing
say
at
you went
that
for the
No,
point?
glow practice.
no, I
No.
couldn't throw the discs I wanted to throw because some of them were too dark. So I just stuck with the bright colored discs that were ultimately not even the discs that I wanted to throw in my round. But oh, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was more just going through the motions and making sure you had your form set to the way you wanted rather than maybe lining up the shots when it's dark at night. You're not throwing the right
Yes and no.
discs.
They changed a few holes, so I just wanted to see what those holes looked like too.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. Has it? I mean, we just spoke to Evan. He said that the beach course was kind of changed up every year. They kind of move it around a bit. But the Jackfish course, is it? You've played there before. Is it that much different year on year?
I think they only added an OB on the Jackfish course this year.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
So you were quite familiar with that course, just trying to get to learn the beachside course.
I think I've played that place 4 years now. There was only 1 year that I missed because I was in Texas for work.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And when you were saying OB, adding some OB to that course, is it not that necessary? Because like when I watched coverage last year, it seemed that there's a ton of natural OB, whether it's some trees around baskets or just really tall grass that's going to impede you and maybe stop you from doing a run up. Is that kind of the way that course is set up?
Yes, but hole 2, you have to clear 320 feet in order to make it inbounds. You're
What?
throwing off like a really tall hill. It's crazy. After hole 1, it's like whatever. Hole 2, you hike up this massive hill, and you have to throw off of it 320 to clear inside OB. If you don't clear it, A, you can lose your disc. B, you go to drop zone, and you're throwing for 3 at the red tee pad. But a lot
Wow.
of guys and girls, mainly guys, they will try to crank it so hard that they turn it over and goes into like deep bushes on the right. Anyone who's been to Jackfish will know exactly what I'm talking about. They made that entire right side OB this year, so no more backup.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
There's a reason why Evan said that was a signature hole on the Jackfish course. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
mhm.
fun. I used to be so scared I wouldn't make it. I remember my first year when I played there, I threw an Innova Mystere champion, and I still have a picture of it. I was literally less than an inch away from making it out of inbounds.
Inbounds.
Oh
I
no.
was so sad, but every single year after that, I have cleared it. And this year, I cleared it by like at least 80 feet.
Wow.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Good
super
work.
happy.
Yeah. No, and that sounds like a good OB line to put in there in that, but just makes it that much harder, makes it a touchy shot. And that when you look at these two courses, Jackfish and Beachside, do you prefer one course over the other? And do you have any favorite holes on either course?
I didn't think I preferred one over the other, but after my hot round, I think I prefer beachside. I made a joke at the end of the weekend. I was like, maybe I should sign up MA2 next year so I can play beachside twice. But no, they have lots of really fun holes, like tight wooded holes. Some of them you have to throw across the road through some trees in the meridian to get to the lighthouse hole, right? There's a lot of turnover shots. There's triple mando holes. He made one of the holes. It's like a short 180-foot hole, I think. Um, he made it in an island this year, and the backside of the island was only like 10, 15 feet. So you had
Oh,
to stick it.
yeah.
And 3 for 3, all girls on my card. We stuck the island and made our birdie putts.
There
Yay!
you go.
Sweet. That's awesome. Yeah. So out of those ones, you like the beach course, obviously, with the scores you were putting up there. Was there on the other side of that? Is there any? We call them, and we're not supposed to, Daryl. I know, but I'm gonna
You
always
say
call
this
them
every
that.
time,
I know, I
Jeremy.
always do, but we're not supposed to call them nemesis holes. But to us, that's what we always have. Sometimes there's that hole that's just got your number, or no matter how hard you try and how hard you plan, it's just out to get you. Is there anything out there at that course?
Hole 4, Jackfish.
That was
I
no
think it
question.
was
No thinking.
last year. No, maybe 2 years ago. I caused the backup. I
Oh,
lost the disc. I had to re-tee. Almost lost that. Just struggling to get out of the bushes, struggling on the green to even get to the green. I remember the MPO card that was behind us. They're sitting there watching me, and then we finally finish, and I'm like, and the guy on the tee, Nathan Salt, he goes, 10, Teri. You took a 10.
No.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
hole 4, I've birdied it in practice rounds, but always tournament round I bogey or worse.
okay. Tell us about that hole a little bit. I don't remember it. What does it kind of look like?
It's on the left side. You have to throw over a path on the right, and and beyond the path is all OB. So you have to do a turnover or an aggressive forehand, but there's also tall trees before you hit the gap. So if you pull it early, you're stuck in these jail trees that are just like a bunch of tiny little skinny white trees, right?
Right.
But if you pull it over too much, it's like death bushes. They're super pokey, and there's a lot of them.
Oh no. All right. Well, Evan was selling us on the course here,
Yeah.
Daryl, but I think Terry's maybe getting us a little more nervous about it.
Oh, it's fun. Just stay on the fairway. For a favorite hole, I do have to mention. Evan might have told you guys too. Hole 15. He
I
makes
don't know
it.
if he mentioned that
He
one.
mentioned a few holes that was signature holes. Yeah, he
Yeah.
stuck with hole 2, but let's
Hole
hear about hole
15.
15.
He makes it the FPO CTP hole every year because he thinks I'm gonna be a rookie and do the same thing. But in 2020, when me and my friends went out to check out Jackfish, this is before we even started playing tournaments, I was throwing a Undertaker for a 200-foot hole downhill. It's on Jomez, actually. That's why it's famous. But
Okay.
I'm wearing this massive
Oh, right.
lime green fanny
Yeah,
pack.
That was that
And
one?
I hit the cage, and Evan was so happy that his course was showcased on Jomez. So hole
Right.
15.
Yeah, and that was when you were. I think not only did you have this big fanny pack, like that was where you were keeping your discs, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
playing with the fanny pack on, and my discs were in there, and I had the worst form ever. You guys, it was so bad.
Hey, but it was good enough to get on Jomez, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was everyone's reactions like, "Oh, did you really just do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
That's great. Well, one of the things Evan told us about too about the weekend was that it's got just such a good vibe and such a good setup with the beach course and the tournament central and then Jackfish all being close together and then the campground there. You were posting some pictures. It looked like a great camping area. Did it have that kind of really good vibe at the tournament for you as well?
Oh yeah, the campground's awesome because most of the time, I think there's a mistake this year, but most of the time the campgrounds are closed off and it's only for disc golfers only for the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like end of season, so they shut it off, and only disc golfers are camping there. So everyone's like-minded. We're all going around with each other. Um, it's party central, so it's kind of like Aspen Meadows, but the Saskatchewan version of it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, interesting.
You have to go.
Definitely. Well, we want to get into the tournament, and the first thing we should say is congratulations on the big win at the Gold Eagle Open. Daryl, do you got the applause? We should insert it.
Here we go.
Yes.
I got it.
Well, last year you played, let's go into this. Last year you played the event. So you win it this year, but last year, after 3 rounds, You're tied for first with Bailey Inglis. Tell us about that. Tell us how that all went down for anybody who hasn't watched it. Why I don't call it a spoiler if you haven't watched it, because when you get the person who is participating in it telling you about it, that's not spoiling anything. So tell us a little bit about how that went down.
Um, so I'm still working on it this year. I can't find the balance of playing it safe and playing aggressive. I'm still trying to figure it out. But last year I was like, I'm just gonna play it safe. I'm gonna play a consistent game. I'm just gonna play for pars. That was a big mistake because our first round is always from reds on Jackfish, and it's like
Right.
very birdieable. I think my practice round I was 11 down through 17, bogey free. I bogeyed the 18th hole, but but like that's just how easy the red tee pads are.
Okay.
But instead, I think I only shot -2 because I was playing it safe,
Mhm.
and that really costed me the entire tournament because all the other courses are really hard to birdie.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and that got you to that tie at the end, and you went into a 4-hole playoff. And anybody who hasn't seen it, you got to watch it on Parked Pro, because I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. I think I actually watched it twice, Terry. I watched it once, and it was so awesome that I watched that again. So it was fantastic. Unfortunately, that time you didn't get on the winning side. Bailey took the win. So had you been thinking about it all year? Were you putting a plan together for 2024? How was the approach to
Yeah,
this
I
one?
actually originally wanted to take down Falcons, but that was not in the books. I knew it wasn't going to be my weekend. Um, you kind of just take it as it is, take the tea, I'm just going to take my medicine. Every single tree hit that Bailey had, boom, dead center fairway. I was like, okay, well, you can't beat it. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to do my best and hang in there as best as I can.
Yeah.
But I told her too at the end of Falcons, I was like, hey, next weekend I'm coming for you. You better practice. So I brought it, and I love that we both shot -7 in the first round. Like
Mhm.
that's nuts. That's neck and neck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I told everybody too, everyone at my campsite, I'm gonna go aggressive round 2, and I'm gonna go aggressive round 3.
Right.
But I changed my mind after round 2. I was like, I'm just gonna play it safe. I have a lead. I'm not gonna go aggressive. And I think whenever I don't play aggressive, my layups are too short. As opposed to if I'm going for the birdie and I miss the birdie, it's a tap and par,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've kind of led us right into it there.
Yeah.
So you and Bailey Inglis, so she's back this year. You guys get to have the rematch, and you got Katie Hozempa on the card with you as well.
Mhm.
And we've kind of got a little bit about your rounds, and you started us off just perfectly. So your round 1, Jackfish Lake, you're on the reds. You do a -7 with 7 birdies, like a perfect round, 916 rated. Bailey did take the early lead, like real early, like the first few holes, but you took it back on hole 5, held it for the rest of the round. Bailey did come back and tie it, like you said, -7, -7. Was that pretty exciting for you? Like after round 1, after day 1, where was your mind at? How were you feeling?
I was so focused. Sorry. I was so focused that I actually didn't even know that I shot a bogey-free round.
Really?
Yeah, the girls told me after. I was like, really? Let me go look. Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Right. So I was like, I told myself I'm gonna play aggressive. I'm gonna go for every birdie that I can, and if I'm off the fairway, I'm just gonna chip up for par. Oh, and a huge game changer for me this year too is I have a forehand now.
Ooh, nice.
Awesome. Is that something
Yeah.
you've been working on?
2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2
Awesome.
months and that was it. And what, just a lot of practice every day to put that forehand in place, or was there
Um,
something that unlocked that gave you something you didn't have before?
I forced myself to only do forehand approach shots. Hence why I'm in like tier 4 for Rundle League. but like every single approach shot I forced myself, I had to use forehand, no matter how wide open it was, no matter where the trees were, I had to do forehand. So I started with that. It was pretty choppy, but then once I got used to like the release point, the release timing, I was able to release a little bit more flat and use less overstable discs. And then I switched to hyzer flipping putters.
Ooh,
And I was able to hyzer flip, I think an F5 too at
okay.
Aspen Meadows. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I saw one of those as you're talking about Aspen Meadows. I saw one of those beautiful forehands. You were on hole 8, I believe it was. You were kind of just tucked into the trees, and you put this one out there. Perfect S curve, right under the basket. I'm standing behind the basket watching it. It was a thing of beauty. So you're right. I know that forehand is now, it's dialed. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's game changer, right? When you're stuck in a bush, you can't really throw through the bush, which
Yeah.
I still see some girls do, and I feel really bad. It's like, guys, literally just force yourself to practice chip shots with forehand, and then the rest will come. Like
Yeah.
I don't even run up with my forehand yet. It was just a standstill forehand.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the course? Like it depends on a forehand, or was it were you just using it for scramble shots, or did the course? Is it better that you have a forehand for it? Is it more lefty friendly? I guess if you want to say it that way.
Um, I think there's both shots definitely, but there's a lot of jail trees.
Right.
Once you're in, there's like not even a line to pitch out.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it'll take like almost 2 to 3 shots for you to even get out of the trees if you're deep in there.
Yeah.
So having a forehand is if you can find a tiny little line and just pump it as hard as you can, hope for the best. It usually works.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's get you into round 2. So now we go to beachside course. You're playing from the blues. You shoot a -2. You get 4 birdies, 2 bogeys, 956 rated. And
Uh-oh, what
looking
happened?
through all the
Wow.
cards, this looked like the harder course. And what was it that makes the beachside course difficult? Is there anything specific about it, or
Water,
water?
OB.
Should have known.
Yeah.
Water, OB, tight wooded lines, tight wood courses. You can see the distances; they're not as far.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know what's happening with me, but well, I do. It's mental. But my off the tee shots are probably like 20%, 25% if I'm lucky.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
But my scramble game's been like 1,000% this year. I was telling the girls at Aspen and at Gold Eagle too. Hashtag scramble this weekend.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I've talked about that before. I'd rather there's so much weight I put into a scramble percentage.
Yes.
I'd take that off fair, being off in the fairway off the tee. If you got a good scramble game, then you're safe, right?
That comes from lots of casual rounds. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I
so
think it was good. I think I hit the first available off the tee on round 2.
oh
That
no.
was great. But hey, chipper forehand, parked it right under the basket. But my
That's
2
good.
bogeys were actually from pulled forehands.
Okay.
Okay.
And same with the double bogey on 17 at Aspen Meadows final round
Yeah.
was I rolled my forehand over.
Oh yeah.
And I remember Riley was caddying me and he's like, you should just do your forehand. It's safe. I'm like, okay, I believe you. I trust you. And I rolled it. And he was like, and he looks at Dave Hohalter and he's like, she hasn't done that in months. Like
Right.
I haven't seen her roll her forehand in so long.
Right.
But like when you're under the pressure and everything, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Makes a
crazy though
difference.
that you hit the first available on the first tee. Like for me or Jeremy, that is something that could ruin our round, right? That you think that's the way that we look. Even if we go to Rundle, trying to make that Mando on hole 1. If we don't make it, we kind of look at each other and we're like, okay, so this is the way
This
this
is
round is going to go. Like that's our mindset, right? But for you to hit the first available, scramble forehand, park it, get the birdie, just goes to show that you got that mental stability to be like, it's just one hole, it's the first shot, got the rest of the round to go yet.
Par, but yes, par's good.
Sorry,
Yeah,
par, yeah.
par's good at
Yeah.
that point for
Yeah.
sure.
I think I'm turning into like, no offense to you guys and your age or anybody out there, I'm turning into
Absolutely.
an old time golfer
Right.
where I'm very happy with pars, you guys. I don't ask for very much. I'm very happy with the par.
Yeah,
That's nice. Yeah.
I'd love to go for par round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we go and we finish that round 2, so Bailey, she ended up shooting a +6, and that gave you an 8-stroke lead after round 3. Where you feel once you kind of saw the way the card would check out, were you feeling pretty confident? You had a great round of beachside. You've got a pretty big lead. What were you thinking?
I think that she would have shot around the same as me if she didn't use up all her tree luck at Aspen. She had zero tree luck at the beachside course. Zero. I
Okay.
felt so bad, but she did put up a really good game, and honestly, if it wasn't for those tree hits, she would have been around the same score too.
Gotcha.
Right.
Intense.
All right, so now let's go. We're going to finish this off. We get into round 3. Now you're back at Jackfish Lake, and like you said earlier, you're playing the blues this time. So you get the longer throws to go, and it feels like they jacked up the difficulty at Jackfish Lake for you for that last round. So Bailey plays the first 9 holes even, and you were at +4 on the round at that point. It kind of cut your lead down. You were at 8 strokes. You're down to 4. You're going into the back 9. Are you nervous? Are you still feeling good with that lead? What are you thinking at that point?
Very nervous.
Yeah.
Because I think it was hole 8. Yes, hole 8. I had the dirtiest roll away from a birdie putt. Like nasty roll
Oh.
away, gone. And I was like, okay, this is my life now. I guess this is what I'm gonna do. And then following that hole, I read the wind wrong, and I threw a disc down the hill. It's only like 320 feet or something like that, but my disc flipped and went straight into the ground. And I was still probably 250 away from the basket. I was like, I am so screwed. Bailey has a birdie putt,
Right.
and I'm 250 feet away from the basket. And then I screw up my upshot
Oh no.
because when I play for par, I screw things up. My backhand upshots have just not been as great since I switched to forehanding. It's how things go, right? When you learn something new, you kind of forget something old.
Yeah.
I left myself probably like circle's edge, just outside circle, putt for par.
Yeah.
I hit it.
Nice.
I was like,
Nice.
okay, everything's fine in the world. I don't have to freak out anymore. I think it was, I want to say, so the nipple hole is 12. No, I think it was hole 12. Yeah. So we're shooting off the top of a hill. You can either go big spike riser all over all of the trees, or if you don't have that big of an arm, you have to go through the tunnel. And it's like the
Oh.
downhill, and it's a skinny little tunnel that curves right, and then the green opens up. But
Okay.
it on either side of the tunnel, there's like 30-foot trees.
Hmm.
And if you're in there, you're in jail. That's when I think Bailey double bogeyed and I took the par. I actually had a putt for birdie.
Okay.
But she
Wow.
double bogeyed, and you want to feel bad, right? Because you want everyone to play their best.
Yes.
But I think that's when she decided, okay, it's over for me, because I could
Right.
just feel that energy from her too, right? Because I
Oh.
know she was chasing, she was doing really good. She was talking to me about how she doesn't like to look at scoring on PDGA, but she'll always keep a running tab in her head.
Yeah.
So when I saw her just, she's trying to keep it together, but shoulders slumped and walking
Oh
like, okay,
no.
guys, let's go. Like, my heart was like, it's just heartbreaking. It really is
Yeah.
heartbreaking. I wish everybody could win.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where at that point, you know that you're going to take it to the end there, and you've got that win. So you want to be excited about the win, I'm guessing. But at the same time, when Bailey is like one of your FPO friends and a person that you enjoy playing against, you don't want to see them to be upset. Like you said, is everybody play their best, and then let me beat you that way. I don't want to beat you because you had some bad kicks or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I sent a message to the girls in the morning final round. I was like, all right, girls, final round, big course. Let's just, it's us against the course. Let's all shoot our PBs on this course today.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well,
Right.
in any event, though, you get to the end, you have the win, and we just heard about it. We know you work out at the gym and everything else. Everyone was saying that trophy's pretty big, pretty heavy. Were you able to take that thing and put it over your head, or?
You'll see it at Park Pro. I was actually lunging with it.
Especially when you've got your phone in your hand and you're live on Instagram recording it as well with one hand and you're trying to do everything.
Yeah, my entourage couldn't come with me this weekend. They all had to work or something. So
Yeah.
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 Well, you've got 13 wins under your belt. Where does this one rank in all of those wins? Is this your favorite one now, or is it one of the top 3? Where does it sit?
That's a tough question. Um,
Our hard-hitting questions here on
Yeah,
Chain
I
Up
think
Podcast.
I'm pretty bad at this kind of stuff because I kind of erase the holes
Yeah.
and I kind of erase the events because there's good and bad.
Mhm.
I'm working on my mental game and I'm really hard on myself. Yeah, people are always like, you had a great round. Like I left so much out there, you
Right.
know.
Mhm.
It didn't feel like it was an amazing round. My second round, it didn't feel like it was an amazing round. I missed so much,
Wow.
right? I think on hole 4, so hole 4 is probably one of the hardest holes because it plays along the beach side,
Mhm.
and if you're not on the fairway, you're in the bushes, like
Right.
Oh.
thick, sticky, thorny bushes.
Hmm.
I turfed my shot 150 feet off the tee, and this is what like a 450-foot hole, and
Right.
it's dog leg left up against the water, and I turfed my shot. I'm like, okay, this is it for me. This is over. Um, but I had a beautiful second shot that set me up that I could just lay it up for par. But what I remember is I turfed that shot.
Right, right.
So instead of me trying to keep track of all my tournaments and all my rounds, I tend to just into the archive. I forget everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's one of the 13 wins then. We'll put it at that, hey?
There's actually 14, but
Oh.
Lobo didn't update my PDGA for my first tournament ever that I played in FA2 in 2020.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if they're listening now, they should
Lobo.
get that figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? One of the things that if you're not remembering all the good stuff in that, well, we reached out to Bailey and we asked her, we said, hey, how was it playing with Teri? What were your thoughts of the weekend? That type of thing. And I'm going to paraphrase a bit because she had a ton to say, but you can pretty much just sit back and listen and bask in this because it's pretty awesome. So she said, always excited to have you on the card with her. You keep the atmosphere light and the conversation flowing and are always willing to share your thoughts on what's going on the holes and what you're thinking. She said she's always inspired by you because you try different lines and she watches you flawlessly throw these cool flex lines and it makes her want to go right out and try them again right after the round.
Aw.
She said the way you yell, I believe, to give yourself confidence is something that she loves. She just loves it. And then she did. She reminded us, she said, your -2 round in round 2 was so fire that it was only beaten by 2 MP40s and 1 MA1, I think is when I did the looking in the PDGA. Like it was like one of the best rounds. If you take the MPOs out of the situation,
Only 8 MPOs beat me too. I beat 16 of them.
isn't that like that's
Yeah.
insane? Like what a round, hey?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the last thing she let us know, she said, even though you're an Edmontonian now, she's still so proud that you got your Sasky roots. So
Yeah, it was a good time seeing all my old Saskatoon friends there too.
yeah, well, and that's it. It's
Awesome.
like we loved hearing, like we like reaching out to the players and your card mates when we can because it's great to see. And I think Daryl, we probably say it all the time, the FPO vibes on the cards are the best vibes.
Oh
Like,
yeah, hands down. Yeah.
yeah.
Everybody's so supportive, happy when everybody else does good on the card, wishing everybody does good on the card. The MPOs, maybe not so much. They're more in it to win it. They I'm not gonna say they want their card mates to do badly, but they want to take down the win. And obviously you guys do as well. But like you said, you want to beat them at their best and not seeing them having a bad round as well, right?
We
Yeah,
talk
we're
about
not
a lot of inappropriate stuff.
That's the way it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, the one thing, you know what? The time flies, Teri, when we have you on, especially in these recap episodes. But one of the things we want to do before we let you go, we're going to talk to Thomas next here, is we always love the pro mindset aspect of talking to someone who plays an FPO or MPO. And we've heard before when we had you on the show that you do have your mantras and that, but let's tap into this I believe one. Is this something you're doing often? Does it always work? What about when it doesn't work? What's your next go-to type thing? Like how, like anything like this, I know that Daryl and I can use, so give us as much as you can.
We'll take any tips.
Yeah, I cycle through a few. I'll tell myself I've never missed a putt in my life. And then sometimes I'll four putt after that, but then I'm like, okay, now I will never miss a putt in my life. And then the I believe is just pumping myself up because I don't know if you guys seen any of those memes out there, but sometimes it just takes one person to say I believe in you and just changes your entire like, you know
Right.
what? This person believes in me, so I'm gonna do it for them. It's not doing it for
Right.
me anymore because I'm completely just powder crumbled into nothing right now.
Right.
But this person says they believe in me, so I'm gonna do it for them.
Oh,
And I like to distract myself a lot. I'm somebody who I think a lot.
Yeah.
So as soon as I find myself worrying, I found this new thing. I just started doing it like a month ago or so. But I'll walk up to a tree or branch or something. I'll just count all the leaves on it. And
oh,
then sometimes if that doesn't work, I'll purposely find a big tree and I'll make myself count to 50 before I can stop.
Right.
okay.
And then I'll go back to my card and my tee box or whatever and go from there. It's a good reset. It works really well.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I got something new to try when I get out to nationals there.
Yeah.
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 Well, and speaking of that, but we're getting to that time to where we're going to let you go, but we want to give you a moment here. Do you want to shout out your sponsors? Is there anybody else we can shout out? Just kind of, you're on the podcast. Let's get those names out there.
Yes, thank you very much, Equin Discs. They're supplying me with very beautiful discs that they're able. Oh, look at that! Very,
Oh,
very,
I'm
very pretty
prepared.
discs. Not only are they pretty, but they came with a bunch of new molds and plastics. Ooh, yeah, look at that. So they're incredible. We also have Beast Disc Golf. Jeremy, you're wearing the jersey right now.
Mhm.
It's so comfy. It's so
Oh yeah,
comfy.
totally.
And it's so breathable and it's so light. It's awesome. T-Box socks, obviously, as well. And BR, he's been supporting me for quite a long time here now, and he's nothing but positive. Always follows my rounds and messaged me during disc golf. You got this. Awesome job. You're still in it. You can still do it. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
that's
really happy with all of
fantastic.
them.
Yeah.
For
And then
people that
with
want to follow you,
Yes, please follow
Heiser
me.
Rom Honk.
This will help. This will help me grow so I can eventually go pro tour one day.
yeah. Well,
Awesome.
we were talking about it earlier, Terry. You're leading the Cold Garden Cup in points for the FPOs. You're leading the Canadian Disc Golf Tour. You're heading out to nationals right now, and you're going to be going up against some great competition. You've got a full FPO field. Like, this has been a great year for you, and it's been so exciting to watch. And you're right in our own backyard, so that's been amazing.
I think before the rating bump today, I like to look at this stuff. I was ninth highest for rated
Oh,
girls for MPO.
That's
Sorry,
amazing.
FPO for nationals. Ninth out of 16. So
Yeah.
like
yeah,
bottom half, right?
Wow.
So I just told myself as long as I finish better than half, I'll be really happy with myself. It means I played above my rating.
Yeah.
great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Have a safe drive out to Clearwater, and I'll be up there. Mark's going to be up there with me. We'll catch you out there, and have a great tournament. Thanks for joining us.
Sounds great. That jersey looks good on you, Daryl. Why don't why don't you have one yet?
I don't know. I gotta get one.
Okay, sounds good. I'll
Okay.
wait for you.
Awesome. Thanks,
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 Terry.
guys.
Terry.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for your time.
Bye. Daryl, I always love talking to Terry. She's got so much positive energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to talk to. Very,
Yeah,
like
and
you said, never negative word, never, never lost for words as well.
no,
Always
that's
fun to
it.
talk to.
And then for me, it's like that. That energy is always infectious. I don't even think I gave you a chance to put one word in that interview because I'm just
Okay.
so excited to talk to her, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I get it. Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. Well, why don't we get to our next guest and give the
Okay.
announcement? Do you want to do the intro too?
I'll do this one. I'll start talking again.
All right, good. Sounds good. It's all yours, buddy.
Okay. Our next guest is from Calgary, Alberta. He's been a PDGA member since 2022. He played MA1 for 1 year and won the Gold Eagle Open. He moved up to MPO the next year. His first MPO win was this weekend at the Gold Eagle Open. There must be something about this tournament for him. Why don't we welcome Thomas Germann to the show?
Hey, there we go. Welcome
There
to the
we
show,
go. We got
Thomas.
him.
Hey,
How are you doing?
hey guys, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. Not
Yeah,
too
you're
bad. How are
welcome.
you?
Yeah, we're doing awesome. Thanks for taking the time to come on and talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys can hear me okay?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we can
We-
hear you. There's always a little bit of a delay to
Good.
start off with. We'll get it all caught up. We'll be good to go. So one thing we wanted to clarify here is that your PDGA account says that you're from Calgary, Alberta. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually grew up in Ottawa, just outside of
Okay.
Ottawa, and I lived in Saskatoon for 7 years. Went to university there and stuck around for a couple of years, and I just moved to Calgary 1 year ago next weekend. So
Oh, okay.
actually, this weekend.
The reason why we're asking is because you've played 5 tournaments just this year, and none of them have been in Calgary.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what was that all about? Is that just kind of how you tournaments that you wanted to target this year, or what was the reason
Yeah,
for
it
not staying home?
was it was mostly timing. I really wanted to play the Limber Open this year, but it was kind of back to back between Edmonton Open and that one just kind of worked out better with my schedule. So unfortunately, didn't make it to that one. I'll be playing in the River Dogs Open in a couple weeks here, so at Red Tail Ridge, just outside of Calgary here. So can't do a full season without playing a home tournament, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Well, you mentioned Edmonton Open there too, and before we start talking about the Gold Eagle Open, that's one that's kind of near and dear to us, being in our backyard. Daryl was out playing it this year. What did you think? Was that your first Edmonton Open, and what did you
It
think about it?
it was, yeah. I had a couple Saskatoon friends who went out last year and spoke so highly of it that I had to go check it out. I was in Edmonton earlier this year for work and played Bailey's Crossing for the first time and just fell in love with the course. So as soon as I saw registration open for Edmonton Open, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta make it there this year. So turned out that the course really agreed with me, so got a good finish there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we get out there at this time of year, right, Daryl? We try to start making Bailey's kind of a staple of our weekends. We'll get out there on a Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and once the leaves are off the trees, the course gets slightly more friendlier.
Gets a bit
Oh,
easier.
I bet that rough is pretty rough. It's pretty thick.
Yeah. And we're enjoying the new changes they made to the course as well. Did you have a chance to play it last year? You just played it this year, just before the tournament?
I played it this spring actually, so I played the old layout as well, and
Right.
yeah, those changes are awesome. It made it a really much better course. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Much harder though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the tougher courses in the Edmonton area, and it's definitely challenging. It's challenging for a couple of MA40s, let alone the MPOs that can actually pick their lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can find trouble as well.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into it and say congrats on the big win at the Gold Eagle Open this weekend, your first MPO win. How are you feeling about that?
There's the applause. Thanks so much, guys. It's it meant a lot to me. It was really special. Like I said, I lived in Saskatoon for a long time, and Gold Eagle was always kind of the last tournament of the year. And some friends told me in 2022 when I first played it was like, if you really want to test your skills, that's where you go is Gold Eagle, and everybody from Saskatchewan and other provinces show up there. And so the first year I played it, I played in MA1, I won it. Surprised everybody, including mostly myself, really. And then last year was my first year in MPO. It was my first cash at Gold Eagle, first top 10, first 1,000 rated round as well. So
wow,
it's always been a special tournament to me. So stepping up this year and winning it was just it's still sinking in, to be honest.
Yeah. So what do you think it is about this tournament? Do you think it's a special tournament for you? Do you play well at this tournament, or is it just the timing that you happen to be playing well at this time of the year and that happens to be the tournament you go into?
Combination of everything. I know the course fairly well. It's very much a landing zone type of course. Kind of baits you into thinking it's a bomber course, but it's really about landing it in the right spots. And then the other thing is just working towards it. It's my goal to win this all season. So everything I did this year was geared towards winning this. So I sought out every chance I could in Calgary to replicate some shots to prepare for this. And
right.
Yeah, I guess it just agrees with me too. So
yeah. No, that's interesting. We've spoken to other people that have gone back-to-back wins on tournaments and things like that. But going from MA1 up to MPO to be to kind of work your whole year towards just winning this tournament, that's an interesting way to approach a tournament.
Yeah, it's draining. I don't know how a lot of these guys go into tournament. I mean, I don't play a lot of tournaments, to be honest. So. Putting that much effort into winning something, I don't know how these guys do it. I envy their mental fortitude.
Yeah. So then we've heard a lot about the courses, talking to Evan and then talking to Teri, but I just like to get different players' opinions on the courses. When you look at Jackfish and you look at Beachside, do you have a favorite hole on each course? Do you have a hole that maybe you dread? Like, give us a little feedback on what Thomas thinks about the courses.
Yeah, Jackfish, every hole is really different. It's got an interesting flow to it. You head into hole one, it's one you really want to birdie every time, but because of the nerves and the uphill and the wind can be a little swirly, it can set you off to a disappointment, and you don't birdie it, you can get a roll away like I did in my first round. And then you head into holes 2, 3, 4, some of the harder holes on the course. So if you miss hole 1, you could be 3 over by hole 4, and it's just it can really get you off to a rough start. And then 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are a little easier to birdie, but they're not none of them are gimmies, right? So it's really just about getting your mind right and a bit of a mental battle with yourself. And then the toughest stretch is 9, 10, 11,
right,
12 and 13. So that middle stretch,
Sounds like you're naming all the holes.
Yeah,
Sorry to
pretty much,
interrupt.
So you can split it up in your mind a little bit. Get into a different mindset for a couple holes, and then 14 through 18, you really want to birdie at most of them, if not all of them. So it's an interesting flow to the course. I really like it. But it can really beat you down if you get some early bogeys. Right.
Well, why don't we jump right into your first round there at Jackfish Lake? First round you played on a card with Eric Giesbrick, Luke Levesque, and Brandon Redekop. So those are some pretty big names there to start your tournament with. How was the vibes on that card?
Yeah, that was awesome. That's we had one player of each province of Western Canada there, so that was really cool. I played with Brandon a lot. I had never met Luke. I'd never met Eric, so it was really nice playing with those guys. And a really talented card. I think the worst score was probably 3 under. So it was I love playing with talented cards, and we're just all pushing each other. So great vibes there. Yeah.
So you say that the -3 was probably the worst. You shoot 7 under, 7 birdies. That was enough to take the lead, but Noah Higgins goes out there and shoots -11. Noah's always one to watch for, right?
And that's a course record too. -11 is just outrageous. I told myself that, and I told my friends too, that I was looking to shoot about 7 or 8, and I got off to a good start, and the park programmers came and found me, and I missed every putt when they got there, and I threw it in the woods. So it was first time that the cameras were on me, and it was not a good look. I wonder how much they're going to air of that, but.
Did you feel the pressure of the cameras? Like, was that an actual thing? Like, you realized they were on you at that point? Yeah.
I had just gotten, I think I was something 4 or 5 under through 7, and they show up, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, I think they're here for me. So it's sure enough. Andre walked with us a couple holes and saw I wasn't doing good, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go now. Like, oh, okay. Sorry to disappoint.
That's awesome. So then let's skip ahead to round 2. So it turns out that you're on the lead card. You get to go head to head with Noah now. You play even for the first 3 holes, and then you go on a bit of a tear, a quintuple set of birdies. After 9 holes, you have a stroke lead on Noah for the round. It looks like Noah and you it looks like Noah and you battle the rest of the round even. Bogey on hole 18, you still manage the better round with a -6. That puts you -13 for the tournament, 3 strokes back of Noah, and Luke Levesque is only 2 strokes behind you. How did that? We've heard that we spoke to Teri. She said that that the beachside course is kind of the tougher out of the 3 or the 2 rounds or the 2 courses. How did you find that course?
Yeah, beachside is an interesting one because it kind of it baits you into thinking that everything is gettable and right in front of you because it's so much shorter. There's no elevation change, but there's so much out of balance, and there's so many like tight lines to hit that it can really bite you. So I was trying to get to like 7 or 8. I think Noah and I both had some like 4 bogeys on that round. So it didn't go quite as well as I hoped, but like I said, it was enough to hold second place there. Fun thing about the second round, so I played with Jacob Martins. He's one of my best friends, and he was on the feature card the first round. So when I was done my round, I hopped over to their card and tried to cheer him on. I was showing his girlfriend the scores and just saying, if he birdies one of the last 2 holes, we'll play together. So that was no matter how that round was going to go, as that was the first ever tournament round I played with him, and that was
Nice.
pretty special. So
Yeah,
Oh.
that's awesome.
yeah.
So then round 3, you head back to Jackfish Lake. You're in this one playing with 2 big names of the Canadian MPO scene. What are your thoughts going into that 3rd round?
Oh, I couldn't sleep. I was so nervous. I was so excited. Is a lot of feelings, right? So I was 3 strokes back from Noah, and then 2 or 3 ahead of Marshall and Luke. So
Yeah.
I was just focused on playing my game. I knew it was going to take double digits to at least challenge for the win. So that's kind of what I was focused on. And then around the first hole, Noah and I both birdied. Luke and Marshall both parred it. And then the second hole, Luke and Marshall both bogeyed it, and Noah and I both parred it. So as soon as the second hole was over, I was just, okay, this is a 2-horse race. We're off to the races here. So
Yeah.
That kind of put my mind at ease a little bit. I wasn't too worried about the entire field catching us anymore.
Right.
So it was a little easier to just buckle in and play my game.
Little easier to focus on one person rather than 3 other people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, it's Noah, right? He could pop off and birdie 11 holes in a row if he when he's playing well, right? So.
Well, you kind of touched on it there. You said that double digits was going to what it would take to win, and you end up going out there. You play a lights out -10. That's a 10:45 rated round that Noah couldn't keep up with. Luke managed to shoot the same round, but it wasn't enough to catch you. Obviously, he was a few shots back there. You win the tournament, -23 overall. Noah is just behind you at -22, and Luke at -21. How amazing did that feel? You've already mentioned it. It was one of the tournaments that you wanted to win. Actually, when you got to the end and you realized that you'd won, how did that feel?
I was overwhelmed with emotions because this entire round I was just focused on. I wasn't really paying attention to scores. I was really just focused on trying to go one shot at a time,
right?
Execute it. And when I knew Noah and I were pretty close in scores, and he took a bogey on 13, and like I said earlier, like 14 through 18, you really want to birdie all, if not most of them. So I knew that I could. It was mostly in my hands. I think going up to the tee of 15 is when I checked the scores and knew I was in the lead. So I was like, okay, let's finish strong here. And we just kind of matched hole for hole. And then 18 was really stressful because you're coming up over hill. There's a gallery. You're throwing downhill in like towards the lake. There's out of bounds. There's rollaways. Anything can happen. So fortunately, I was up first. I threw my shot to probably 30 feet, which is nerve wracking. I didn't want that at all. I wanted under the basket if I could, but
right.
And then Noah throws what looked like a really good shot, but he got a massive skip and a roll away to about 45 feet. So we came down to the green, and Asada, she goes first. So just I could barely watch. I think I turned around for his putt there, and he hit cage. So I was thankfully able to lay up, because the last thing I wanted to do was try to hit a downhill 30 footer for a win. So
wow,
yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Thomas, did you find too at that point, because you had Andre following you for a little bit during that first round, but now like you've got the cameras on you the whole round. Did you get used to it at that point, or kind of what happened, or did you just put the nerves down, or what?
Yeah, you know what? They're I got to give them a shout out. They're so good at staying out of the way and making you feel comfortable. Matt was walking all the rounds with us, and he's so chatty and just such a great guy. Makes it feel at home. I think I got the camera jitters out of the way on the first round there when I missed all the putts and threw it in the woods. So when I stepped up in my second round, I guess I threw my first shot into the first available. But outside of that one, I was calm. I was confident in front of the cameras. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Well, we've heard that, hey, Daryl, from a lot of people, that Matt and Andre, they're just so good at what they do that,
oh yeah,
give them a hole or two and you won't even know they're there unless you want to know they're there.
Exactly. No, it's they're so good at what they do, and we're all really thankful to have a lot of content to watch over the winters. So, it's shout out to them.
Yeah.
Well, here's something I'll tell you, Thomas, is that Daryl and I do a fantasy picks show as well for the A tiers. And I'm going to say, and I'm just being honest here, that you weren't even on my radar when I was picking for Gold Eagle. But I was so wrong because Kristen Swirl certainly had you on on her radar. And then after we posted up the teams, Alex Penny piped up and he's on our socials. He's like, you guys better watch out. Thomas has got some skills there. He's gonna take your teams down. And they couldn't have been more right. So I'll tell you this. I'm sorry you weren't on the radar, but you are definitely on my radar moving forward.
All is forgiven, Jeremy. I watched that episode, and Alex is a good friend of mine, so we play together a lot. And so he gave me a heads up that Daryl, you picked me, and I won't forget that one.
Yeah. There you go. I recognized it.
There you go.
Yeah.
It seems like Alex Penny is a friend of everybody. He's such a nice guy.
Nicest man in disc golf, like you guys said.
There you go.
There you
Perfect.
go.
Yeah. So we're glad you agree, because it's like we say that, and there's people who may not have met him and are like, oh yeah, these guys are just saying it because they're nice guys. They're pumping people's tires, but he truly is the nicest guy in disc golf.
I've yet to meet anybody nicer in the sport. He's so generous with his time and his discs, and this whole weekend he was texting me with support and everything. So, if you ever get the chance to run into him, introduce yourself, and he's someone to talk to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, not only that too, it's like if you could have him as a caddy, I think having Alex as a caddy would take 6 strokes minimum off of your round, just with the positivity that he would provide for you.
Yeah, no doubt.
So cool.
So we reached out to read. One thing we like to do is we like to reach out to some of your card mates just to find out, what it was like playing with you from their perspective. So we reached out to Marshall Taves. He said you were a nice and quiet guy. In his words, and these are his words, you played smooth, boring golf. But if boring means pars and birdies and all tournament long, I'll take boring golf any day.
Absolutely, that's the goal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a flashy player, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what it takes to win, obviously. So whatever you've got, you're doing it right.
Yeah, and so is he, by the way. What a player he is. He's so consistent, so smooth. Like I said, 14 to 18, you want to birdie them all. He birdied them all both rounds. So he was 10 down through 5 holes on 5 holes of the tournament. That was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
So he's another player to watch out for the future for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We also reached out to Luc Levesque. We reached out to him a number of times this year. He's been right in the mix at almost every A tier that we've covered. He said that you're a beauty. He said round 1 you were so you were so smooth and just kept hitting your putts. Round 3 you were dialed, and he thought it was crazy how many nutty star frames the card was able to get. Do you remember any of those star frames?
Yeah,
I do. Stand out in particular?
Hole 11 is a big one. I was so focused on the round. I'm myself will need to watch Park Pro coverage to find out what the heck happened on that Sunday, because it was a blur. It was, but yeah, hole 11. I've seen the number of birdies that I've seen on that hole. I can put on one hand before this round.
Right.
And we birdied them all. I think it was 391 foot hyzer shot into this kind of coveted green. If you pull it too tight, you're in some trees and you got a 200 foot upshot. And if you pull it too straight, you're in some trees and it's jail. So it really dangerous hole. There's always swings there, but we all birdied it. And that was outrageous.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch that one either.
Yeah. I
think last year maybe Noah birdied it both rounds. I think Al birdied it, and that might be it. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting one, but like 3 birdies for a tournament on that hole.
Wow.
And this year we all birdied it on the lead card. So
let me just say, was that my pick, Al Harabia, that you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You got to watch out. Al is a sleeper dark horse pick. He didn't have his weekend, but he can play.
Yeah, he can throw so far. He's a good friend of mine in Saskatoon, and I learned a lot from him in terms of just throwing far. He's got so much power.
And if he's not throwing it long, he's shredding on the guitar. So
Yeah,
what more do you need, right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
We also reached. Luke also said that the energy was high and so were the nerves. But congrats to you for keeping it together.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So it's
thanks,
always
Luke.
nice to hear.
He's gonna take one down. I wouldn't even be surprised if
Yeah.
it's this weekend. He's so good. I have never seen anyone throw discs so far and so smoothly. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. I know it's Jeremy that reaches out to, kind of puts it out on the social media there to get interaction from everybody. And I think Jeremy's starting to feel bad that every time he has to message Luke and being like, hey, do you mind telling us how this person who won?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be on the podcast in no time.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
to be
only a
honest,
matter of time.
I played with him in the first round, and if the baskets were a little nicer to him, I think you'd be talking to a different guy here. It was,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, and even too is when we talked to Casey last week about his win at Falcons, he had said when we mentioned Luke, he said that kid has got an arm on it. It's almost like
Mhm.
on him that he maybe doesn't even really quite realize that he has yet. Like Casey's a little bit older and can see and has that experience and is like, Luke, man, when you unleash, you're going to be throwing far. You're going to be bombing things that you don't even realize you can do yet.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. I've never seen anyone throw as far as he can. I mean, it's absurd, and he's got a couple of years to figure out how to throw even farther. So,
Yeah.
watch out.
There you go.
Definitely. Well, you know what? You're in the pros. You're an MPO now. I know it's a fresh MPO, but you to us are a pro. We're MA40s. We're AMs. We're still, we're real proud of hitting 850 and 851 for our ratings right now.
Hey,
So
congratulations.
Oh, I thank you. Yeah, we're halfway to 900. I guess 50
Yeah.
points away from 900.
Yeah, so you both got a little bump on ratings day there.
We did, yeah. Thank you.
So, but we can't resist trying to get a few tips from the pros when we have you on the show. So I am going to guess that this was probably the most pressure that you've ever had in a tournament on your shoulders. You got the cameras, you got Noah, you got Luke, you got all these people there. What were your strategies to stay calm under pressure? And in the fact that you don't even remember part of it, how did you get into that zone and so that we can maybe try to learn from it and do it ourselves?
Yeah, it's a great question. You're right. It by far the most pressure. I mean, even when I won MA1, I tied the leader of the tournament in the last hole. So I never played with the lead before. This was the
Right.
first time, even when I won MA1. So I think what really helped with me was establishing a real putting routine that involved breathing as well. So count whatever it can be to you. Maybe you're counting on your breaths before you let one go, focusing on things that don't really matter to the game. You're not really focused on what this putt means, what could go wrong, like hitting a cage and rolling away. Really just focusing on making it as normal as possible through
Right.
a putting routine and through a breathing routine. And then the other thing was, I missed a couple putts, but after every putt, I go back to that spot and just kind of visualize it going in. So you'll probably see it on coverage. I'll be in the background, just like recreating my putt without a disc in my hand. So
Right.
that to me just erases the miss. The last thing that I remember is visualizing it going in. So you're not
Yeah.
carrying that to the next hole.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've seen a video of Simon Lizotte when he does putting practice. He starts off with he said start off with a distance that you're comfortable making the putt, even if it's a 1 foot tap into you, whatever that distance is. Start off by making 3 of those putts, then work your way back to the distance that you want to work at, and then when you finish, go back down to that short range and make those putts, because the last and the first thing you want to remember is that, hey, I made those putts.
Yeah, and the
So-
sound of the chains. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what'll stick with you. It's good advice.
Yeah.
No,
awesome.
and that's great. And Thomas, I think you've got a really good idea there. And now, now that you mention it, there's another Thomas. I think he goes by the name of Thomas Gilbert, who I was watching some of the TCO coverage,
I
and
think I saw him do that
I
as
think
well
he
there.
did that. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think you're onto something there too. And I didn't quite get what he was doing. I know they kind of talked about it, but when you put it that way, putting that visualization of seeing that putt, even if it's not with a disc in your hand, of what that looks like to go in, that's gonna stick with you, and that's probably gonna help moving forward to that next hole.
Yeah, it's definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. So we know you're doing River Dogs next. You mentioned that down at Red Tail Ridge. I think that's the other place. That's the same place that they're going to be doing the Cold Garden Cup Championships as well in October. So
yeah, correct.
Are you going to look to play that tournament as well, or what do you have kind of on your radar either for the rest of this year or something that you're looking forward to for next year?
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to drop out of that one. I'm getting my dog spayed that weekend, so won't be able to make that. But I've heard great things of this course, so this is sad I can't make that one, but I'm looking forward to the River Dogs one.
Yeah.
And then as far as looking forward, like I said, this was my goal for a long time. So now that I've achieved it, I think I really need to take some time and think about what my next goal is here. So I'm not looking to go on tour or anything. I'm just looking to be the best that I can, given the amount of time that I can kind of allocate to the sport. So we'll need to stay tuned on what next year looks like. Maybe it'll be winning Falcons Flight or nationals or something like that. But I won't be. I don't know. After the win, I told my girlfriend Jordan, like, well, what now?
That's it.
Yeah. Like, should I retire? This might be as good as I get.
Well, I think there's a lot more in store for you, so I'll be watching very closely to see what tournaments you're registered for. So we'll know who we're picking them for those ones. Because if you're going to dial in the same way you did for Gold Eagle, there's probably not much that's going to stop you.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, and as we wrap up here, Thomas, we want to give you a chance. Is there any sponsors or anybody out there that you want to shout out or thank right now?
Yeah, so I'm sponsored by RPM Discs. A couple other discs I really, there you go. That was fast. Nice job, guys.
I got it.
Yeah, a couple of those discs I really leaned on this weekend. And then shout out to the River Dogs in Calgary. It's they welcomed me in. Nice little disc golf group here that they welcomed me in when I moved here, and got to meet a lot of people, and they were really supportive this weekend. One of the biggest things that I missed when I moved from Saskatoon was a group of people to disc golf with. So I'll shout out the Bridge City League in Saskatoon as well. They really helped me grow to who I am today.
Perfect.
That's great. Well, and I think I got to throw it out there, Daryl, is you had a chance to play the RPM kind of 3-disc challenge down in Sylvan Lake last year.
Yeah.
What would be your, just, we usually save some of these questions for the full interview, but let's just get one of them in there. What would be one of your go-to RPM discs that's, the one that you can rely on all the time?
Right now I'd say the 2E. It's a understable putter, so 3 speeds. I think it's 3 negative 10. Really glidey, really straight. Just basically doesn't have any fade. So I threw it all over the beachside course. It was great.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. We're Daryl and I are never in a shortage of wanting to buy new discs, so it's always good to hear of another one to put on our lists.
Yeah. I have an addiction for that as well. So
there you go.
There you go.
I'll just quickly put it out there to you. Do you want me to put up your Instagram social? Are you looking to get more followers for your Instagram?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want to go
follow. Thank you.
If you want to go follow Thomas, it's on the screen right now.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you having on the show. Good luck with the rest of the season here, and hopefully we get to talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Awesome.
And have fun in nationals.
Oh, I certainly will. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks, Bye.
Bye-bye.
Daryl, I just put it in the notes now. I just put it right there. I put wow, big letters, exclamation point, great guests. I
Yeah.
don't even know if it's going to be the case, but it seems like every episode it certainly is.
Yeah, I think the listeners must be getting. I think they think that we're just saying it or something, but I mean they're listening, so they can listen to the same interviews we're listening to.
Yeah. And these are people like Evan Zimmer we've never talked to before. We never
Yeah.
met. Thomas, we've never met him before as well. Hi, Teri, okay, we knew she always delivers every time she comes on, but
Right.
just another great episode and great guests. I'm so happy about it.
Yeah, just amazing, and we get to talk to these people,
Yeah.
and that they actually are grateful and they want to be on the podcast with us. You know, it actually feels like we're doing something as well. That actually we give them a voice and give them a platform to speak, and get the disc golf message out there.
Yeah.
Which is what we're all about.
And with that, as always, if you like what you see, you like what you hear, do us a favor, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, throw up some likes, put up some comments, tag pros, tag people you want us to talk to. All of that helps us grow and give you more and more content just like this.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it up there one more time. We're trying to get to 250 subscribers on YouTube. So subscribe on YouTube, subscribe to win. Go look at our Instagram pin post. You'll see the big swag bag prize of presents that we're going to give away for you.
And we talked about it for quite a while, Daryl, all the things in there. But when you put that package together and put that post and had everything in one picture, I was like ready to pat ourselves on the back. I'm like, we put together a pretty good prize pack in my
I
mind.
know.
It's even color themed, I think, as well. So
It's amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a load of stuff that you would get. And that's only for 250. What are we going to give away for 500?
I don't know,
Just
man.
think about that.
Well, I'll tell you this. Let's drop a teaser. We've already got 2 discs ready for it. And maybe another thing that might go on your back as well. So we're already prepping for that giveaway.
Exactly. You don't even get stuff like this at tournaments.
No.
And you have to pay for that. You don't have to pay to subscribe. Just go on and click a little button. That's all you have to do.
And we took a look, and right now on YouTube we were at 237. So we only need 13 more subscribers. So subscribe on there, follow us on Instagram. That's going to get you in for the giveaway. And yeah, super excited for that.
There you go.
Let's get to the secret word, Daryl. I've got one in my mind. Do you have one in yours?
Okay, chat. This is where you're supposed to come up with a secret word. We're supposed to remind you earlier, but you have to come up with a secret word. Anyone listening, put a secret word in the chat, and we'll get people to drop it in the comments on the YouTube video. Do I have a word? I mean, positivity seems to be the be all and end all of this episode, but I mean, that's not really a catchy word. Well,
Well, you could probably.
What was your word?
I think you could take positivity and you could put right beside it, I believe.
There you go. See, that was the theme of the episode.
Yeah.
Positivity, I believe. Tui. Fireworks. Fireworks is a good one. I believe in Tui fireworks. There you go. I've given you the sentence already. You don't even need to put that in a sentence. There you go.
Yeah.
Believe, not today.
Sam's jumping in there as well.
Said she doesn't have one today. Believe. I believe in Tui fireworks. There you go. That's what I'm gonna say.
All right. Well, let's see how many. If you can put them all in there, go for it. But those are the secret words we're gonna throw out at you. I believe, Tui, and fireworks.
Mike said river dogs as well.
Oh, oof.
But I like river dogs. I like fire. I don't know, Mike. I like Tui. I like Tui fireworks.
This is where I'm giving you all the power, Daryl. You nail it down. Nail this secret word setup.
Well, you know what? Mike is one of the ones that is always commenting on our YouTube videos. So I feel like we have to give it back to the listeners somewhere.
All right, so let's do that. River dogs?
Yeah.
And is that it?
I believe in river dog fireworks. No.
You don't have to give them the sentence.
No, but I'm just thinking, like, I believe because of Teri, fireworks because of Evan, and then river dogs because of Thomas. Like, I want to pick a word out from each individual guest.
Okay,
but it just happens to be that I believe in river dog fireworks. That's the whole.
Yeah, and if you can make it even more interesting, do it. But yes, that's what
it doesn't have to be that sentence, but if you put it into a different sentence, you'll get a bonus slap on the back from me.
All right, Daryl. I think there's only one thing we got left to do here.
Do you know what would happen if you threw that Tui?
What would happen?
If you stepped up to Jackfish Lake, or even the beachside course, If you're,
Probably the beachside course.
yeah,
And I think if I was
The
standing
shorter
there
the
on that
course
hole
is.
number 1, right? Like
Yeah.
that we were saying, I heard some people were hitting the first available and bouncing off it.
yeah,
You know, I think for me, you've seen me do it before. I get enough spin once in a while on a disc. I'll bounce it off the side of a tree and it'll still propel forward. And on
right.
one of those short holes, that tui's going to propel right toward the basket.
Yeah.
And because I'm going to shout, I believe, before I start,
There you
I'm
go.
going to have done some breathing exercises like Thomas taught me. I'm going
Yeah.
to be having a great time because Evan puts on the best tournament, it sounds like.
Yeah.
There's only one thing that disc is not going to do when it gets to that basket.
No, it wouldn't.
It's never going to chain
Chain out!
out.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Oh, that's the wrong one. You're supposed to see this one. I was ready this week.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, everybody.
See you later, everybody.